Guys, we will be getting started real quick. If you're not seeing this live, well, we're going to get through all of these topics if you want to skip around if you're not watching this live, but I'm going to take 2 minutes here, see if some people can come in for today, and then we'll get started on some topics for today. I thought it would be fun. I did have some free time today to go over some stuff, so I'll give it a couple of minutes here, and then we will get started here in about 4 or 5 minutes, okay? Be right back. And we will touch on these type of topics, Kevin. So yeah, keep it pumping. Things that you guys are interested in, things that you guys are thinking, but those topics there, that's what we're going to cover today. And part of that will be covered in a moment, Kevin, if we're going to see some overlook of Moody's. Be right back. A little bit. You know, it's just something to touch on, but give it a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get started. I just got to link up some stuff. Be right back. And good morning, guys. Yes, we're doing a little Sunday stream. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys had a good weekend so far. I mean, it's not over yet, right? We still have a lot of weekend left. My wife's trying to convince me to go get a foot massage, and I'm like, I don't think she realizes just how ticklish I am. I've never had a foot massage, but yeah, we're going to get into some key topics today that I think would clear some stuff up. I wasn't able to come back on Friday, which just sucked. It really did suck to not be able to come back on Friday. I was just having a good time. I just got out of positions and just continued to have a good time. But I think it was even for a loss because it got theta burned. But I think that's what led me to research into some stuff, just looking at these regular charts that we normally look at and looking at the ones that retail are a little bit more prone to, especially when it comes to Tesla and traps before the Moody's announcement. And the behavior of Amazon was really fishy to me on Friday. So we'll get into a lot of these topics, especially early on. But say good morning, say hello, get your do you guys have some coffee ready? I know it's 8:30. I hope I'm not taking away from you guys Sunday. I just wanted to do a live one because also it was something here was also I was making the video for today, really trying to get into that video. I know we gave weekly expected moves yet in yesterday's video, but I really wanted to come live because there's so much to get through to compile that into 20 minutes and make it make sense and easy to digest for anyone. Proved to be pretty difficult this morning. So I just wanted to list those topics and just be like, okay, these are cut and dry what we're going to get into. And then we can maybe look at some other names, right? If you guys want to look at some other names, we potentially will do that too, showing you guys every single zone to pay attention to for the stocks that we cover. I think that would be great. And if you have a stock that you would like me to look at, you know, if it's not something we normally look at, we will have to put that to the end. Most likely, but we will go over those towards the end if you want to stick around for it and just suggest something after we get through these topics. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys zones to pay attention to for where this pullback, which as of right now should be treated as a pullback. We're going to look at those zones, and those zones will help you know if you're going to get more than a pullback, say a crash. So we will look at that. So yeah, we can look at UNH and stuff like that later. UNH is a different story though. UNH isn't necessarily in the same context as all the other things we're going to cover today. Just give it a couple more minutes, see if some happy good morning Sunday people can come in here in a couple minutes, and then we will get started. Lucid, I like Lucid cars. I'm not going to lie. I like Lucid cars. I just think they're inefficiently made. I think they're too expensive. Like luxury is just going to have a difficult time these days. That's my opinion. And Lucid's kind of that like luxury feel. I don't hate. I think the cars are very cool. Like if I would like back in the day when I was looking at electric vehicles, I was looking at Lucid. I thought they were so cool. But yeah, just give it another minute or so, guys, and then we will get started. Thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button if you could, if you don't mind this morning. Appreciate if everyone could hit that like button this morning. Just too difficult to compile everything and make it make sense. And I noticed when I was editing, I was like, it sounds too much like rambling. So I wanted to really cut and dry, take my time with it, go through topic 1, go through topic 2, look at Friday, look at the monthly moves as well. I think understanding this will be kind of like a little lesson today, right? When we get to monthly moves, which is great. Morning, Oakland Group. How you doing today? Yeah, I know you like that squeeze, Oakland Group, but did you do the risk to reward short at the end of the day with the monthly expected move? That's what I'm wondering, because you were saying you were looking for 575 on like by the end of the week, next week. I think you were saying 575. I'm going to show you guys the zones to pay attention to, though. Well, so we'll get into that topic in a moment about Moody's. We will get into that with the monthly expected moves and the daily time frame. So 1, 2, and 3, and we will be talking about price action at that point. UNH is bouncing up, though. Yes, things bounce. Yes, we will take a look at it at the end, okay? All right, 8:35 for me over here, probably 9:35 for a lot of people, maybe 7:35 for some people, but we're all on the same time here. Time's relative or something like that. Doing well, brother. I didn't short and wanted to, but I don't like holding over the weekend with everything going on. Yeah, that was a suggestion we had for longs, and we said the risk to reward was to the short side, and that is something we will talk about in this video as we get into those monthly moves and the daily time frame, okay? We will get into that. We will get into the risk, so what we're going to get into when we get to monthly moves, and as far as like a position around these monthly moves, we're going to talk a lot about the position sizing. Okay, a lot about the position sizing here. And we have a great thing to say towards this. Okay, great thing to say towards this. This is exactly what I did. I just snagged it at literally the last second. I pulled up my phone and I just go, I don't care. I'm blind buying something here. And I'll tell you guys what I do in these type of situations, or I want to take a play, or the Qs piss me off because they are not pumping select stocks. They are only pumping stocks that seem decently retail heavy at the moment. We're going to talk about that topic early on here. So let's get into the first topic, okay? And Monday's better too. It's actually better. It's a better as far as position goes, right? Open group. You don't necessarily want to take what I would call a position to short, right? You don't want to take that bearish position, and we'll get into that in a second. It'll make sense. It'll make sense once we get to it. This is why I'm going live today. There's so much to talk about with what we've experienced over the last couple of weeks and what we're going to experience next week. Just for some stats on Moody's, I'm going to bring this up real quick and just read it off to you guys. Just for some context as to what you should expect possibly tomorrow. Okay, what we should expect possibly tomorrow. So let's see here. Oh, this is the wrong topic. Sorry about that. So what I did was I just went in and I used AI to give me all of the points of when we got some kind of downgrade and some kind of reaction from that downgrade. Okay. And what I wanted to do, where is the damn topic that I had? It's over here. I wanted to compile that. Okay, there it is. There's the curve estimate. And so what I did was I had AI create kind of a curve estimate of how far down we could drop. And so as far as it goes, taking in all of the data, I had it make sure to tell me all of the data first. And then I said, use that data and make almost like a bell curve for what we should experience possibly this week. And overall, it came up with the probable range, like a 68% chance that you will see anywhere from negative 1% move throughout the week to negative 5%. That is the 68% chance there. You most likely will see some kind of at least negative 1%, if not negative 5% move based on the Moody's downgrade. Now, this is in context of what? We have not seen a Moody's downgrade like this. So anyone that is pointing out August, right in here, anyone that is pointing out in here, it is good to point it out. It is bad to think it will be the same, because this is a totally different downgrade than what you're getting over here, the Moody's one, right? This is kind of a different one, if you will. So treat it like it's its own. Don't treat it like you have to see that downward trend for a month, okay? Or 2 months, whatever it was. Now, with a 95% likelihood, you guys know we like that 95% line in the sand. The 95% line in the sand would say you could actually end up the week up 2.5% or down 7.5% based on historical data. So you have a 95% chance to see a big, if you're looking for the downside, about negative 7.5% over the next week. And then the extreme range would be in the next 2 weeks, you will experience something like a 10% drop or even a 5% gain. That would be the data right now. Okay, so just to get that clear in your head, you see that the downside risk is bigger, right? We see that negative 5%, -2%, -1%, -5% is what you're looking at for your standard area, your more likely area. Because this is kind of a crazy event, your 95% area can get tagged. And for that data, when plugged in, that would say the downside risk is negative 7.5 compared to possibly positive 2.5 by the end of the week. And this would tell us, okay, the downside risk is still bigger, right? 7.5 compared to 2.5. Okay. Then we go to the kind of the lower percentage chance, which we did experience something crazy. You have extremely low implied volatility. You have extremely high call volume. You have extremely high people in the market right now. You have retail possibly just pumping into this high, getting that FOMO on the Friday, wanting to get that pump from Trump maybe on the India news that is potential for Monday. Okay, the lowest we should expect for the next 2 weeks should be 10%. If we're seeing more than 10%, and if we even see 10%, it is actually likely that we could continue that move because that would break us down to further levels. Okay, now let's talk about Moody's on Friday. The fishy things, let's just get through the fishy things really, really quick. The fishy thing here for me was the Qs not able to go push through and make that new high, to go test a little deeper into this zone. That is overall an interesting thing. And so what I wanted to do was look through these stocks and just go, okay, from these stocks, Apple, not necessarily the most heavy towards retail, but what I wanted to do was see how Tesla behaved, right? So which ones seem like, okay, not as heavy to retail? Apple, okay. It is still a retail one that retail people buy, but as far as it goes, retail really likes Tesla. And so you notice that Apple, something that's more, I would say, institutional, was actually going sideways and down while Tesla made the new high, creating possibly some kind of trap for who? Retail. Okay, then we go look at Amazon. Weirdly enough, Amazon kind of had its price pinned all day after experiencing just upside moves or some kind of gaps and things like that, really following the market. Amazon just went against that. So I think someone who owned Amazon knew about this. That is just my opinion. NVIDIA, I think NVIDIA is the stock that they always tell retail to get into. So notice that NVIDIA never goes for the new high, but pins price at the high until that potential news comes out, right? Until that potential news came out. So wanted to point that out. The one that was weird for me that doesn't follow this is kind of AMD, but notice how this is different from Amazon. AMD saw some kind of upward move on Friday. This is a retail one that reached up higher. We were leaning towards that lower high, but I think someone is overall trying to bait retail at the end of Friday with these tech stocks is what I'm overall getting at. I think Microsoft and Google, right? Google has been shouted out multiple times, and notice that got the upside move on Friday. Google has been one that has been pumping out, at least over on the financial Twitter, Twitter in general, or I guess not Twitter, X in general. A lot of it has been saying, I've seen a lot of retail people trying to buy Google because it hasn't seen a reaction yet, and they were banking on it. And so I think that Google was one that they were trying to overall trap retail in. And I think Microsoft, I think a lot of people were showing the positivity of Microsoft. I've seen financial media talk about Microsoft a lot. And so I think a lot of this was a trap in the tech sector that other people actually knew about it before it happened. I just wanted to talk about that first thing. My thoughts on this were very much so because of that after looking at this over the weekend. Now, as far as the SPY goes, we're already going to hop into the more important topics. Really, when it comes down to it, Moody's is whatever. Moody's is not necessarily the most important thing for us to talk about today. Overall, I see news as an excuse for a reason for the next move. And then you're just going to see that excuse over and over and over again. If negativity is the negativity for the whole week and 2 weeks, you're just going to constantly hear about Moody's, constantly hear about negative things. Whereas if they want the market to remain better, you're going to see Moody's shrugged off very quickly. And we'll talk about that type of price action, okay? Sorry if I'm not able to get to chat too much here, guys. I'm just going to try. Let's see, Luke, let me read this one. Luke, you're correct. If you see at 329, there was a massive doji just sitting there for like 1 minute without moving at all, then a fake pump. And that's what I was looking at with Amazon. I thought the price action from Amazon was just not what you were seeing for the last 2 weeks. And so if it randomly stops right before a news drop, something fishy is going on there. So if you end up getting beat up by this move, I wouldn't beat myself up. I would say they tricked me, right? I got caught in the trick. And that's where we really want to get into topic number 2, monthly expected moves. Okay, monthly expected moves. And we're overall, let's clear it up real quick. And if you need the weekly expected moves, we'll come back to this chart. Sorry about that. Just choked a little bit. When you get to monthly expected moves with this amount of strength, what does the monthly expected move, first of all, mean? And what did we shout out, pretty much all last week? Take your foot off the gas, right? If you're bullish down here, right, it would say take your foot off the gas. All right. So something that we talk about with these monthly expected moves is utilizing them as decision-making opportunities. Utilizing them as decision-making opportunities. And can't get right. We went through one topic already, just showing some interesting things. We're never going to know 100%, but I think someone knew about this before it actually happened. And I think they baited retail into certain stocks. That's what I think. For the monthly expected moves, though, what kind of decisions, maybe someone in the chat, can you guys help me out? What kind of decisions do we talk about at a monthly or even an upside weekly expected move? Okay, when you do have more time for that to come back into that move. What do we talk about, especially when you go into it this strong? What kind of decisions? I'm looking for 3 of them. If someone who has watched these videos, take profits, right? That's a perfectly fine one. Take profits, right? Any kind of decision that says I am slightly taking my foot off the gas, right? Anything that says I am slightly taking my foot off the gas is the type of decision that you want to lean towards as you're at an upside move, right? Monumental. So we talked about this like throughout this whole run. Hey, you remember the reward? Remember when we drew it like this? The reward, I think it was on this day, the reward, the risk, right? Once that starts to get really big, you say, I got to take my foot off of the bull gas just a little bit. And one of those things could be taking full profit. So thank you, El Rey del Mundo. Thank you so much for saying that, because that is one of those scenarios. Now, what is the other decision that is similar to taking some profit, right? Who can tell me what the taking some profit and what could be a decision to make here? Who could tell me? Can someone give me that answer? I want to see if we have some people paying attention last week. What's the other type of decision in this area? Trimming. That's right, Gore. That's right. So taking some kind of profit and leaving those runners, right? That can be a decision to make, correct? You can make the decision to take full profit. You can take some profit, maybe to break even, or at least make money in the move. Usually it's a good idea to make some kind of money in the move. That way, if all of your move is given up, if all of those runners lose, you still win, right? You're still green. That's a very good thing. Now, we did see a comment just now from Steve, which is a fine one. Go short. Now, we need to talk about this one very, very specifically. Okay, and I thank you, 142 people showing up on a Sunday. I really do appreciate it. If you have something to get to, this video will be posted in a little bit. It is going to be a longer form video, okay? So you can always come back to it and just click around to these little sections, okay? I won't be able to section them off or anything like that, but you just got to find where we're in topic number 2. We are in topic number 2 right now, and we are talking about the tail end of topic number 2 right now, just so you're aware if you need to back up a little bit if you're not live. So someone just suggested, and Steve said it, and I think it's a perfectly fine thing to think. Go short. Now, let's talk about that position sizing. Covered calls, yeah, plenty of opportunities, right? Let's talk about that position sizing, which is very, very important. I saw Green Hope say it a little bit, right? I don't know what context they were saying, sizing, but I think it's a very simple and good word to say in this area is what is your position sizing looking like? So in this type of area, let's assume something here. Let's say I want to just say this is a great trade. I don't think it's going to continue. So I'm going to take 100% profit. But let's say that other guy over here is thinking I'm going to do what? Hedge. What about hedging? What about hedging? Exactly. See that? Talk that, talk beat. Do you see that? This is why I'm very upset with myself for not being able to come on Friday. This is why I'm doing this live show right now. I really did feel bad about Friday because if I was live in the last hour of the day, I could have shown you guys these things, but I didn't look into them until after the market closed and on Saturday. So I wanted to give you guys a fair apology here from me because I wasn't able to come live on Friday and I wasn't able to show you guys this in advance. But we had talked about this area and we had talked about maybe the right play is going short in this area, which is what we're talking about now. So we have the guy who takes full profit and the guy who says, I'm going to take a decent amount of profit and maybe either leave runners and then hedge against those runners, right? That could be a decision as well. Hedging in this area can be a great decision as well. So we want to talk about position sizing if I'm going short here. What is the trend right now? And I bet the perfect person to ask this is actually Oakland Group. Oakland, what is the trend right now? Reduce, watch your sizing, take your foot off the gas pedal. Perfect. I think that's perfect, right? I think that's perfect. Make money in the move, right? Always tough to trust the Friday move, especially with these Monday reactions, right? I bet Oakland Groups could answer this very, very well, though. What is the trend right now? And I bet everyone could answer this. What's the trend right now? It's not a trick question. Does everything look bullish or does everything look bearish? And have we lost the things we need to lose? Up, right? And when we see Virus saying the up symbol, we see all the ups coming in. Okay, it's not a trick question, guys. I'm not gonna try to trick you in this video. If I am, I'll tell you, okay? You are very bullish still. Trend was up, traders was super bearish to need overly greedy. And I think this is the overall thing here is thank goodness we have done our due diligence. Thank goodness that we have this tool, have this skill under our belt to make these type of decisions. Okay, so the trend is very bullish. So what does that mean about me taking a short play? What did we say throughout this entire move? Shorting is difficult. Shorting, an actual full-on short position, like $5,000, $10,000 short position is difficult. So then we talked about, okay, taking full profit guy versus the guy who takes a decent amount of profit and maybe he hedges. Something that risk to reward decisions that you could do, and I would even write down in these situations for myself is if I take 100% profit, but I want to short a risk to reward type play going into a Monday, what size of position would I do? This one. I would act like I have calls and I would only short a position that is like a hedge, meaning it is a smaller position, maybe a little further outside the money, right? And just say, okay, I'm going to use a small amount of money and act like it's a hedge, but not risk too much. What does that allow you to do if something crazy were to happen? Like say, I don't know, a big thing like, I don't know, maybe like Moody's downgrades the US credit rating. I'm not going to call it a Black Monday. I don't think it's a Black Monday. Yeah. So overall, in this area, it's still not good to short the trend. But if I have more information and I know it is not good to full on short the trend, I can use a position size that is similar to a hedge, right? And you've heard me say that on this channel, maybe in 2024, maybe even here in 2025, where I like to build that first position. And usually that first position is very small, like a hedge. And that is what I actually did at the very end of the day on Friday, or in the last like 15 minutes. I pulled open my phone and I was like, all right, $500 to work here. All right, because that's a very small like hedge for me. And I'm like, yeah, we'll risk to reward 500 bucks. All right, so that is the discussion that I really wanted to bring up in this topic. Is one, we have the monthly expected move, which means what? 68% chance to close below that line by month end. Two, we saw a run up into that area saying what? We hit the line and even crossed it, saying making a decision is a good idea. And then three, the trend is super bullish. So I don't necessarily want to bet like $10,000 that this is going to come down because it's super strong and all it has to do is go bink, bink to go higher. But instead I can say I'm going to hedge it, or if I'm taking full profit, I am going to use a hedge-like position to not risk too much money against a very bullish trend. And if you would have made that type of decision in this decision-making area, those are all good decisions, by the way. Making money in the move is a great decision. Making money here and leaving some runners is a good decision because now those runners are still probably going to be worth something, and you already made money in the move, so you are paying attention to risk. The other one is hedging, and the only bad decision a lot of the time is a massive short position, right? Just in case you see something crazy, just in case this is lackluster, right? Even though we know there's a heavy, heavy percentage chance you're at least going to see 1% down, it's still a good decision in this area to make those type of thoughts come to reality and say, the deed is done, we're overextended, my yellow line is telling me I'm overextended. What do we need to go higher? And this is what turns us into the daily time frame. What is going to happen in this daily time frame? And what, if someone could answer in the chat for me real quick, you need to confirm exactly. Talk the talk. You're saying it perfectly. The reason that you don't short this is because look at it, man. Look at it. It can continue. When you short is usually when you see a downward move, you get a pop and then you resist, right? We talked about that. So now we'll talk about this. How I want to answer this question. Trying to predict. Let's read this real quick, and then we'll get to the next topic here. Trying to predict the trigger to reverse is fine, but better to wait for it and to ride than ride the momentum. Exactly. Assume you know this by sharing for others in the chat. It's pretty much exactly. You don't want to stop what's been working until it tells you it's not going to work anymore and you need to adapt or change. That is why position sizing here is very important. And so now I want you to know, you 174 people here, I want you to know this because you showed up on a Sunday. When you make a move like this and it is this strong and it looks super, super bullish, you still need to have hesitation shorting here with a big position. And think of it, even if you have 0 calls, as you are hedging against your calls. Even if you have none of them, if you are itching to take a risk to reward position, make it into a like you are hedging position to start. Right? That way, if you're wrong, and this just goes wham, you are fine. You are not losing 10, 5, 3,000, 2,000. You lose like 500 bucks because it's a hedge position that you're kind of taking down here in case something bad happens. You're not technically bearish. You're just saying, I think we're going to kind of pull this thing back for a second here and we could see something bad. So in case that risk is there, I'm going to act like I'm hedging a position even though I sold all of my calls. Does that make sense? And you had no hesitation. I think, Kat, that's perfectly fine, right? That's perfectly fine. But I want people to understand this type of thing. The better trade to downside is on a bounce that then falls, okay? That's first. That's what these monthly expected moves. Because here's the thing. What could we see at these monthly expected moves still, right now? Why do you want to be aware of this? You have no idea where the price action is at for Monday yet. You have no idea. You don't know if we're going to open here. You don't know if we're going to open here. You don't know if we're going to open here. You don't know if we're going to open here. You don't know if we're going to open here. You have no idea, right? You have no idea when you took this position right here at the top, if you did, that it's going to open down here. You have no clue. No clue. But your intuition, your skills, your risk, all that stuff is why you made that decision, right, Kat? I understand that. He can't cut right now, guys. We're not talking about cutting at all. He can't cut. He literally can't cut. It's physically like, if he's cut, we explode, you get your blow off top, and it's done within like 8 months. Exactly. And L's pointing out a good point. You can always exceed the move. And we're going to talk about that point right now, and I'm just going to call you L for now. Can this move continue to the bull side still? Because we have no idea what has happened yet. And this is more just on the topic of why taking a massive short position here isn't the best idea yet. Taking the hedge size position here is good, even if you don't have calls, right? That's the risk to reward decision. The 2 hour. Have we seen us break down in price? Have we physically seen the market show us it wants to go lower? The answer to that question is no. From this price action right here, do you see any way lower? No. So why the fuck would I take a $10,000 short position? I'm not saying a short position is bad. That's silly. I'm saying the sizing of the position is important. That's it. Because do you know what could happen from this 2 hour on Monday? We could gap down. We could not lose this. We could not lose this. We could fool around right here for a whole day, and we could curl up here. And where is that? Positive territory. You have no idea, and do not pretend you do know what the price action is going to do on Monday. Now, I think we're going to see more than that, personally. I think we're going to pull back into what? I think we are going to see the daily pull back into the zone. Shit, I went into the 2 hour too early. God dang it. I got to stay on task here. We're getting into the 2 hour in a second. All right, this is the next topic, right? We just got done with the monthly moves. Does everyone get what I'm saying with the monthly moves? Part 2 of this. Before we move on to the daily time frame fully, does everyone understand part 2? The monthly moves, the decisions, and how you treat it, even if you want to take a short position. Does everyone understand that? And it will, Shane. Tonight's price action might help you a little bit. But hopefully we get a few more thumbs up on that. We get yep, yes, clear, thanks. Okay, thank you, Sue, for saying yes, it's clear. Sarush saying it's good. Now I got to stay on task here, and my ADHD is freaking kicking right now, so I got to put a dippy in, all right? And Alberto saying yes, clear, thanks. Okay, Steve, great. I'm trying to be very blunt with this and trying to really get it to understand. You see how difficult this would be to put into a 20-minute YouTube video, okay? This is why I'm doing this right now. I want to give you guys some great benefit, because I really do not want people to not be able to learn from this situation. That's the best way to put it. Even if you made a mistake here, I can guarantee you that there was look at this. Here, I'll show you. If you're feeling bad like you made a mistake going long right here, there's plenty of other people that are doing it too. Okay, don't feel alone in that. All right? Just say, if the price opens up really, really low on Monday, just admit to yourself you made a mistake. Do you know that psychologically, the only way to get better is to admit, okay? And that's why we're going through this very step-by-step today. All right, so we're clear. He'll stop talking. No, I won't. I'm going to put all this out there whether you like it or not, because I don't care if you like the information. I care to get the point across for the people who don't like the info or like the info and still treat it as a learning opportunity. And if you did take calls at the end of the day on Friday, just know you're not alone. Okay, I don't want people who have calls right now to feel like the world's ending. It's not. It's not ending. You are not alone. Do not beat yourself up, because this put to call ratio tells us that most people made the freaking wrong decision in the last 2 trading sessions for sure. The last 3 trading sessions for sure. The last week for sure. Now your short-term day trade, your trades up to that monthly expected move, those are good. But these people who are chasing now, it's going to be a problem. All right, let's go back to the SPX. We're going to get into, we just went through the monthly moves. We went through decisions on that. If you're not live right now, make sure to go back about 10 minutes and look for when we start talking about monthly moves, okay? So we can talk about those things. Now let's get back to my original question as we get into the daily time frame. We are getting into part 3, daily time frame, PA, price action, okay? Let's first of all go backwards. Let's talk about price action and why this is still a good thing, even with the Moody's. All right, we were going through terrible things, right? We were going down. Then what happens, right? When everyone thinks we're crashing further, we bounce. And weirdly enough, this is where I think market makers, I think Wall Street, I think they got pissed because I don't think they saw this coming. I don't. And our 95% line tells us that they did not expect this to come, right? At least that strong. Okay, so I think Wall Street is pissed at you, and that's why they're going to rug this thing a little bit here. And we'll see if it's going to continue as we get into shorter time frames. But what overall happened? We come down, we make a lower high, and we produce downside. This is when you would have crashed. You see a reaction up to this area, and you fall again. That is when you have the highest probability to actually see a crash. That is when you have the highest probability to see a crash. Now I'm going to ask a very simple question. Did we do that? This is not a trick. Did we do what I just drew? This is not a trick. I'm just trying to make it step by step here, guys. No. No. No, we are going through other stocks at the end of the video. We are getting through these 5 topics first, guys. No, 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 no. That's okay, Profit Master. Yeah, we're going to get in towards the end. We're going through important things for the market here so people can understand. Yeah, I appreciate you, Profit Master. We did not do that. What did we do? What did we say about this zone? The best thing that you can do is break out of this zone without making the right shoulder. The best thing that you could do is break out of this zone without making a right shoulder yet. And then we can do something else. So we did not do this. Therefore, are we open to a crash right now? Like a crash below these lows? No. Until the price action shows us the pathway down, it is silly to assume that we are going to go down there. If the market opens up on Monday and we are here, you have an argument for that. If it doesn't, you do not have an argument for that. That's as simple as it takes. That's literally the simplest you can make it. If price is not at, for the SPX, somewhere around 5,400, 5,450 in the next week, then we have no chance. Zero chance. Zero. Price action is saying 0. That's it. That's simple. What did we do? We took out the high. How do you reverse around using price action? Well, if you're going to continue down, you're not going to make a new high, right? This is not a 5 push down. This is not a bear market type look, right? We didn't do this. So therefore, it is much more likely for us to do what now, as we have broken out of the zone. When you break out of a zone, what do you like to do? And I know I'm talking in a very weird tone right now. I'm just trying to make it very cut and dry, very easy to understand. Okay, guys? I'm not trying to sound any kind of way. You are... I like all of these answers. You are going to go higher, Sarush. That is what it is saying, but we have to see the next move first before we can say that. You can't even say you're going higher yet because you got the bad news. You know more, right? It's people are taking, I understand your guys' thinking is taking into consideration the extended hours and things like that, right? You're taking into consideration what happened here. But even this tells you right now, you don't have the info, by the way. You haven't lost this, okay? Get back to it. So I love these answers we're getting. You are going to retest. You are going to pull back. You are going to test the previous zone. I like it. You are going to fill gaps. I like it. You are going to show what that we've been mentioning for the last week. You are going to see a sell in May and go away. That is a trap. That was my opinion. Is a pullback bearish? Let's ask that question. Let's really dig into your guys' brains today, individually, right? Is a pullback bearish? No. A pullback is one of the best things that bulls look for. It is healthy. It is good. You've gotten good news all throughout this move. What is really bad here is one little thing called Moody's, and we don't know the effect on the market yet. So don't get overly bearish here. If you're a day trader, you're probably, when we get into these shorter time frames, you're going to love it if we go bearish for a sec, because you're going to be able to take those bearish plays all the way down to potentially 5,500. It is healthy. It is healthy for a market to pull back, to retest into areas where who is lurking. When you break through a zone, what is it now? It is support. Why? My question now is why? Why? Perfect. El Rey, I am loving your answers. You're quick with it. Buyers, buyers, buyers. Where was the previous point from this overall move, right? So from here to here, on the way down, let's just draw a line. We're not thinking that happens. Where are the buyers? Where are the buyers? Well, there's a massive gap right here. So I would say buyers probably stepped in right here. Why is that level really good? That's exactly the center of my zone. So right here is probably the level to mostly pay attention to. If we go deeper, where would we pay attention? Where else in this zone did the buyers step in? Right here. Right? So really, if we're taking into context, where did the buyers step in? Weirdly enough, you could end up in the bottom of this zone and it would still be bullish. Now, if you dink your head into the top and you don't revisit those lows and you start seeing this extend up, that's even more bullish. You didn't even have to dip down that low. And the buyers stepped in. So the overall thing that we're getting across for this daily time frame is the price action from the daily time frame is saying you are not bearish. You are going to go through potentially a pullback. And we mentioned that that pullback could be pretty scary, but you should pay attention to first, do you actually get buyers to step in here, or do you get buyers to step in here? Now, on the daily time frame, if buyers do not step in, what is the risk? Let's talk about how we get down to here. And I'm sorry I'm not reading chat as often as I usually am. I'm trying to make sure to get through these points and make sure my ADHD doesn't trigger. I'm just being honest. It's fucking wild today. Because I think it's because I'm excited to bring this to you guys. I'm excited to try to help, right? That's why I'm doing this morning on my Sunday, right? I was like, I filmed for an hour this morning, and I thought it wasn't helpful because there's too much to get through. I really do appreciate 200 people showing up today, and anyone that's not watching live, try to get through this stuff. I know I'm dragging it out. How would this be bearish? Who can answer that? You like the live chat, Shane? That's awesome. Maybe we'll make this a regular thing. Maybe we'll do it for Patreon members. Patreon members, would you like something like this once a week? Just a live show for Patreon members? I think that'd be fun. Azrael, thank you for subscribing. That'd be cool, Mark. You like that? It cannot be bearish yet. It can become bearish. What do we need to do? Break the last lower high. Not fully correct. That's not it. It's kind of close what you're saying there, Jeremy. It's kind of close. Yeah, Timus, I really wanted to go through this slowly with people because the video I made was not going to be as helpful enough to my standards. My standards are very high for you guys, right? You're going to have to pull back further. You're going to have to not just lose that high, Jeremy. You're not just going to have to lose this, because what? If I lose that, where am I? I'm still in the zone. Did the buyers step in right here? Well, they kind of did, yes. But where did they first step in? Here and here. Right? So you have to lose all of this to start to be bearish, like on the daily time frame. 2 hour, the 30-minute time frame we're going to go over. That's going to be a different story, right? Obviously, the shorter time frames go into bearish trends more often than the daily time frames. Okay, guys, we're going to get through it. But losing this high means almost nothing. Losing this one. Losing this entire zone, right? We just broke out of a zone. We tap into it. We head higher. So what's the opposite of that? We lose the entire zone. Most likely, you have to lose this wick. 436.80 here for the SPX, something like that, 436. Most likely you have to lose that entire wick, and then you are going to see that come back in, and you're going to do what with this zone now? Because you flipped it into resistance. If you flip that zone into resistance, then you can head lower. And I'm talking very slow. Once again, I hate the way I'm talking right now. I really do. I'm trying to just talk slowly to help people just understand how blatant these things are. Okay? You have rolls over. Great word choice. L, you're killing it today. A lot of you guys are killing it. It's just when I look over, L happens to say the thing that I want to see. A lot of you guys are killing it right now. This bullish. Losing the zone, retesting the zone, and failing the retest is the bearish time. This is where stock market crash is back on the table. And if you do not hold up at this low, but you see another roll at some point, or roll if it's even tighter, you're going to see something very freaking bad. That is not on my timeline, so I'm not leaning towards it. And I'm sorry if you hear baby girl screaming. Abu came over this morning, okay? She's having a great time. Maybe we should have her say hi. She can say some words now. She's been trying to say skunk all morning, and that's a hard word. Okay, we heard it. We got it. We're good. This is all you need to know about the daily time frame, by the way. Because you're either going to see continuation, you're either going to see a pullback into the zone, and you are either going, or you're going to see it break the zone and bounce up and say, short me daddy. Okay? That's what's going to happen. One of those things. What is the most likely thing to happen? You guys have said it multiple times. What's the most likely thing to happen? It is low faded colors. The most likely thing to happen, the most likely scenario is filling at least the first two gaps, maybe not the third and final, and then continue bullish to all-time highs. That is correct. Weirdly enough, the most likely thing to happen is going to be two things. The most likely thing to happen is you are going to fill this gap. You are going to fill this gap. Actually, did we fill that gap, by the way? I don't know if we did. Can someone tell me? No. Okay. So most likely thing to happen is you're going to fill all the way down to this gap, and you're going to bounce and see that come back. Or the similar and other most likely thing will be you are going to come down into here, fill that gap, and turn up into positive territory. These two situations are the most probable, and they both point which way? Up. Up. That's what I say to my daughter, by the way. That's how I say it to my daughter now, because she says up to get in her chair for food time. She goes, up. This is the most likely thing to happen over the next couple of weeks. Okay? And I don't want you to think anything bearish until it becomes bearish. Now, does that mean I should be long? Like if I'm a little 2-week position trader like myself, do I want to be long during this? No, I just want to see what happens next. Remember what I said in my video, like I think it was 3 trading sessions ago, like I think it was Wednesday maybe. Do you remember what I was saying in my video at night? We were saying, I don't care about this. I don't care. Now that I've taken profit, I don't care if people want to chase that thing. I don't care if they want to do this. I don't care if it wants to go sideways. That's fine. I'm just looking for the next time that we go like that. I'm just looking for the next time that we go like that. I'm just looking for the next time that we go like this. This is the trade. If you're shorter term, you take little day options, 2-day, 3-day, 1 week. I get it. That's fine. All right, now let's dip into the 2-hour. Not gonna happen. They're already ready to make us there. Yes, reach value of 554 is likely the lowest, but we will possibly see my lower was 553. Anything towards 550 is scary though. Anything that reaches down towards this 5500 for the SPY, that would be 549.80, 550. 550 is scary, right? But I would say this wick is telling you something and say this is my line in the sand. Is like 5, whatever this low is. Let's see the low. 541.52 is like my line in the sand. If we are seeing anything below that, even a wick, I'm going to treat it very seriously, all right? Okay, now let's get into the SPY and talk about, so for the SPY, by the way, those levels then, let's draw the zone. Let's draw block resistance here. Bam, something like this, okay? So that would mean I want to pay attention to what numbers? Well, right here, right? 562.50. I want to pay attention to the gap fill at 554.62. And I want to seriously pay attention to 549.50. Write them down. Write them down and be patient. And if you get there, see what you see, use your skills. And we'll be here with you. We'll be live throughout this whole time, all right? Now let's talk about the 2-hour time frame. Let's go into section number 4. Before we go into section number 4, is everyone okay with section number 3? Are there anything about section number 3, the daily time frame price action, that we are not understanding? Gosh, Open Group, we are just in tune, my dude. But that's the thing, once you start to run into, people who understand, or maybe you're just gaining a better understanding. I think Oakland's probably traded stocks a lot the way that he talks about things. So I would say once you come into that, you shouldn't see too much difference, like terrible difference in opinion. You can differ on what's going to happen, but with price action, you can't differ. Bullish is bullish. Bearish is bearish when it comes to price action, okay? Okay, thumbs up. Great, Steve. Alberto's liking it. 226, if you are coming in late, we're getting through all these topics. This will be a very good video to actually watch. And you can skip through it live and things like that, but make sure to touch on each topic, okay? Volume is not, okay, we're going to go over volume for a split second here because a lot of people have been bringing up volume. Who gives a shit? No offense, Sarush. This is no offense to you. Volume does not help me. Robert, thanks so much for subscribing. Volume doesn't help you in these situations. It doesn't. You can tell me it does, but I'm going to show you something here. You had volume increase with this. You had volume higher throughout this move than you did before the move. You had volume higher in this move than pretty much bottoms. Look at this. Look at this bottom right here. Volume is super low. Volume is higher, okay? I just wanted to show you that real quick. I'm not saying you can't utilize volume. You might just understand volume in a different way than I do. You might utilize volume in a different way than I do, okay? So maybe it's a longer topic too, and we're just not going into it today, right? But volume in this scenario, price action is the more important thing. Where is the price of this ETF? Where is the price of this stock, and then we're going to go into other stocks. But everyone's good on the daily. Okay, let's get into the 2-hour time frame and talk about these weekly expected moves, because now we can read into the price of these things, right? So first of all, your weekly expected moves are always in purple. Let's talk about what those are. We're giving a full-on thing today, all right? And then we have a purple dotted line down here. But the first ones we pay attention to are these. This is the lower weekly expected move. This is your upper or higher weekly expected move. 603.04 to the upside for the SPY. 585.04 to the downside. First thing we have to acknowledge is this is a 68% zone, and 32% of the time you close above or below those areas. And you did close above that area last week. Very, very nice. But what's the important thing here? Is this bigger or smaller than last week? This is smaller. This is much smaller, which means what? We should see nothing. But what do I tell you about times where the weekly expected move, and thank you so much for subscribing, but what do I tell you about times where the weekly expected move shrinks all of a sudden? What is actually more likely to happen when it is shrunk after, especially after these big moves, especially after your outside monthly expected moves, especially as you're seeing this type of price action? You are actually in the time where weekly expected moves go from pretty big to smaller, 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 smaller. Once they get really small, you're very likely to see something what? Unexpected. Unexpected. You can see unexpected things once you get tighter because no one expects it. When those moves get tighter, no one expects it. Be a contrarian and look for a bad signal. Look for bad price. As far as getting outside of a monthly expected move, you have those things. So I'll ask you guys a question. Do you guys think that we stay inside of these moves with the news we just got? Hey, thank you for subscribing as well as your Reb. Appreciate that. And thank you to all my new subscribers coming in. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys are able to come in and see this. I'm loving that you guys are going back and forth in the chat, okay? It's awesome. Gap up tomorrow. No one expected. Actually, everyone expected a gap up tomorrow. Weirdly enough, not what happened, but how are people positioned? People are positioned for upside right now. And their most potential is to get a downside unexpected thing. Okay, so weekly, no, monthly, yes. Okay. So as far as the weekly expected moves goes, if this news, and I wanted to seriously talk about this topic, and this is the topic that was hardest for me to put into words. Is the market for retail or against retail? Is the market for retail? Do they always let you guys win, or are they always trying to take your money? Against, right? A little bit of both. You would say a little bit of both. They want to bait you in at times. They love us. Well, they do love you. They love you for liquidity. They love tricking you. Okay. So as far as weekly expected moves, the way that we're going to know that this news was actually unexpected is by seeing an unexpected move. Isn't that crazy? You can tell if this is unexpected by seeing an unexpected move. If you do not see something unexpected this week, then something fishy's been going on here with this release. That's how I see it. Now, unless they are trying to bait you in even more, right, and show you something worse, because we have Vixpiration and things like that. I don't know what'll happen before Vixpiration, though. So on the 2-hour, there's two things you want to watch for. You don't know if it's unexpected yet, and price action will tell you. We're going to get into 30-minute price action soon. You should see an unexpected move this week if it's actually an unexpected release, right? If most people are taken off guard. I think some people knew about it. So for the time being, if this is, we're going to talk about this first. If this is going to remain bullish, what could we see? We could see an unexpected daily move. That wouldn't really imply anything. We could dip down into this type of area, hold up where? At this low, and we could turn up into positive territory, and we could be back on the bull side. This is still a bullish trend. Isn't that crazy? Is this price action right now bullish or bearish? I'll even do this. Even with this involved, is this bearish yet? As a trader and as price action, is this bearish yet? No. So if this is somehow not necessarily an unexpected release, you're probably going to see this happen, and then the 2 hour is going to confirm up into positive territory. And you're going to see what? You're most likely going to see this move continue. You just have the new high. Unless we go make a lower high and we see that resistance at the top, right? So that's how it remains bullish right away. You just see something like this, it comes down to a weekly move, and you're able to figure your shit out down in here. Now, where does it start to become bearish? Weirdly enough, for the 2 hour, it's going to take a lot. The 2 hour is going to take a lot. The 2 hour would say, I'm not necessarily bearish, aka the 2 hour is not going to tell you if you're heading down to here until you lose here. I know, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? The 2 hour has to go all the way down to here. And then down here, people are probably going to pile on puts. And then you're probably going to do what? Coming back into that 68% zone, right? And then you're probably going to retest into here. And then you see another fall. I'm not even leaning towards this. I don't even know. I want to see Monday's price action before I really say what I'm leaning towards. I'm mainly just looking at the daily time frame, like I said. You have to lose all the way down to here to be like actually a bearish price action. Which means what? We are going to utilize our 95% expected move if we get there. If you hit the 95% expected move, that says with a 95% confidence, that's as low as you're going to get for the entire week, and you are very likely to see a bounce. If this is a 1% moment, then you will see this low taken out, and you will go much lower if it's 1% moment. You will go like here, like very, very quickly. And then you'll probably bounce, right? But the 2 hour has to lose 576.79 to open up the pathway to go lower. All right? All right. We're clear. Now that that's cleared up, now we're going to get into the fun stuff. And also, it's going to be this area here that's probably important for the 2 hour, by the way. If your 2 hour, just I'm drawing it in a straight line. It's not going to be in a straight line, most likely. If you actually want to talk about when this becomes extremely bearish, it's when you lose this low. That's when the bearish doors start to really open up. That is why you're probably seeing people like Oakland Group and other people in the chat say, if we go all the way down to here, we have to see positivity. You have to see positivity. You have to. You cannot do this and do this. That is worst case scenario. That is worst case scenario to lose this point right here of 556, fill a gap and bounce, and then reject from here. And I'll even draw it up for you guys for the 2 hour chart because you guys are awesome for showing up on a freaking Sunday. That. You do this, you open up every single door to go retesting the lows from April. Or at the least, something to fill these gaps. Right? You at least come down to here. So you don't want to see that. And what is that? That is the breaking of the potential zone. That is tapping the bottom side of the zone and then rejecting again. This is the best thing to look at for the 2 hour chart if you want to say this is going to crash. You want to be a genius? You want to impress your friends? Learn price action like this. Learn how the 2 hour likes to move. Learn how the 2 hour flips into a serious negative trend. This is how it happens. Okay? Yeah, but Milky Faye, do you see why I didn't want to do this? Do you see why I didn't want to do this in a 20-minute video or a 15-minute video? It would have been difficult, right? We wouldn't be able to go through it this seriously. So I appreciate your guys' time today, okay? And if you do need to go, this video will still be here when you come back, all right? You can come back to this video. If you need to go to church, you need to go hang out with family, make sure you're putting family above everything. Don't put me, don't put technical analysis, don't put charting above family, all right? Sundays are important to me. Abu's here. And I'm putting you guys first because I feel bad about not being able to come live on Friday. I feel like we need to get through a lot of this stuff. And I want to be as helpful as possible for you. Okay? Okay, here we go. Now let's go into the 30-minute. Let's get to the fun stuff. Ooh, fun stuff. Let's go. Oh, real quick on the 2-hour. The Qs, you'll look for similar things. Drop that zone for yourself. Qs, I just wanted to show you guys the weekly expected move for the Qs real quick. We're mainly doing everything on the SPY. 532.49 to the upside, and you have 510.53 to the downside for your weekly expected 68% zone. If you want that 95% line, you see where the 2-hour would get to bounce to reject. All right. That would be 499.55. I would say also just 500 paying attention. These aren't exact areas. I treat them like little mini zones of their own. There's your levels. Daily expected moves for tomorrow, 526.06 to the upside, 516.96 to the downside. You are outside of the monthly expected move. So everything that we're talking about with SPY is in exact context with the Qs. All right. Next week has the opportunity to be a terrible looking week, terrible looking couple of weeks. But overall, it's just a regular thing that happens. Overall, it's just a potential daily pullback. And it could end up just being a 2-hour pullback, right? Until you're in that bearish tilt, don't go bearish on whatever time frame. Yeah, I'd say I need to do more work with candlestick exactly, but I appreciate you, Leesky. I can admit that to myself, right? Very important as a trader. Admit things to yourself. All right, 30-minute time frame. So everyone clear? Everyone good with section L? Everyone good with part 4 of our little video here? Just a little thumbs up from a few people. And you're right, Oakland Group, but I trust me, we had a good family day yesterday, Oakland Group, okay? We're good. She likes her alone Abu time. Okay, yes, yep. We're good. Okay. 30-minute. Let's go through the 30-minute. Now, this is going to be the smaller time frame. So this is the one that can go bearish first. Day traders are itching. Day traders are itching, right? Those little 2 DTE, those week-long DTE, those type of people, they're itching, right? They're ready. But do you know what a really good day trader doesn't do at this top? And I'm just speaking from a longer term perspective, from looking at markets and looking at, day traders and their behavior. Day traders do not short a lot of positive trends. They buy calls. They wait for the time to buy calls. Right? Good. I'm not saying day traders in general. I'm saying good day traders. What would a good day trader look for here? We've talked about that every single trend right now is bullish. So what would a day trader look for from a 30-minute chart, maybe, to make a decision? A day trader in this scenario right now would be possibly either long already and hedging. A good day trader would do that. Or they would say, I'm not taking the risk into Friday. That's the most likely best decision for a day trader. And then what they would do is they would say, where is my previous zone? Where do I need to hold up to not go into some kind of downward trend? And the first place that they don't want to lose, and this is kind of a hiccup, but is right here. They don't want to lose that. All right? This doesn't have to be some big wavy curl up, curl down type of thing. They would say, if you tap into this type of area, you do not lose that. and you see upside, they would take this trade right here and they would target up to here or even higher to 600. That's what a day trader would do. Tell me I'm wrong. Someone who's a good, make sure, come on. You know if you're a good day trader, you know if you're a bad trader. Day trader. That's what they would do in this scenario, right? But we got bad news, maybe unexpectedly bad news, right? But a good day trader never goes against the bullish trend until it shows the bearish things, until it shows the bearish trend start. So is a day trader a really, really diligently risk-assessed good one? Are they bearish right now? Most likely they have a bearish, like that little guy in their mind. Most likely a good day trader would still have this in their mind, right? They'd still be like, I don't know about this one. A day trader, now we talk about these things. I like to do these type of things, right? That's why we talk about risk reward plays. I'm different than a day trader. I'm looking for those position trades, the hedge play for the first one, and then overall looking for the second one. So where would the second one be? Well, you would say if we want to break this low, we probably have to break this first, which means Monday, the most likely thing you're going to see is something like this, and then you drop. This is potentially where a day trader would flip. That circle is where the day trader actually risks money. Okay? This is the 30-minute time frame. We are on part 5. That is where a day trader risks money for downside. Why? They see the pathway down for the 30-minute. They no longer are getting the bullish things. They are seeing something bearish. That could do what? Are they going to be greedy and say, oh, this is going to tank us below here? No. They just want a little trade. They want to trade from where to where? They maybe want to trade from here to here, and then they leave runners, and then they leave those runners until we get to here. That's it. That's what a good day trader does. Now, I've told you guys multiple times, I'm not the best day trader. Why? I know these things. I have problems executing the trade. I have problems with it, with the quickness of it. I like to spend time with family, so I figured out that for me, being a day trader is not the best thing. Now, I've had some good day trades lately, and then I had, that bad, the fourth, I had 4 winning day trades in a row, pretty much, right? 1 DT, 2 DT. But that's beside the point. I just wanted to let you know, right? That's not my skill. That's not how I trade, because I came to a conclusion with myself, and you should have that conversation with yourself. Put yourself in the best way to be successful, and that can look a lot different for a lot of different people, right? You might see this and be able to execute a trade very, very well. I like to take positions. I'm a position guy for, I guess you would potentially say for swing ups and swing downs based on certain time frames. So I like to take things in here, right? I like to take things all the way down here and hold them until we get to the critical level. Then I'll sell. And then in here, I became a little day trader for a second, right? Right here, I became a little day trader for a second because I liked what I saw. I have the ability to do it. It's just, for me, the consistency in doing things multiple times, 10 out of 10, I don't get that as or 100 out of 100 or 1,000 out of 1,000. If you really take back the amount of time I've traded, it's not, the percentage isn't there for me on the day trader side because I make mistakes. It could just be me. It could be my mentality. It could be something stupid. It could be me not paying attention to theta. It could be me not doing this, that, and this and that. It can be something. But I just had that conversation with myself. It could be the fact that I just like to spend too much time with my family, and so I put on risk, and then I go hang out with family, and then I miss the sell. Or we don't hit my exact target, so I don't get the sell, and I should have been out, and I'm not able to manage a trade. Right? There's plenty of reasons. So how would this continue to break down? Is you will most likely lose this, you will test up, you will lose this, right? And maybe you see that pretty bad, pretty deep, Then you will see, actually, this push would be nice to get that big leg down. This would be nice to get the big leg down. Then you're going to do what? You're going to retest here or all the way up to here. But the key thing is, wherever this lower high comes in, if you want to go lower, aka you want to continue shorting, well, then you want this to fail getting above this high on the 30-minute. That actually is a big part of it, Open Group. It's very difficult. That's why you guys hear me. I sell my trades very early when they're positive. I sell them even earlier now, I noticed lately. Thankfully, they've been great plays. But yeah, a lot of this is... I try to read... I am probably one of the people that reads chat, at least from what I see. I try to read chat a ton. And that's proving to be a good thing for a lot of my bigger time frame plays, but it's proving to be a struggle with the shorter time frame plays. So I think, Oakland, you might have hit that nail on the head there. So you're looking for the test, but the most important thing is, do you take this out or not? Do you take this out or not? That's all you need to know. Keep it simple, because whether you reject here, whether you reject here, it doesn't really matter. Whether you reject right here, right by it, it doesn't matter. Do you show some kind of pathway higher? Uh-oh. You see how these things form? See how these things form? Okay. Now let's talk about if it's more aggressive. Depending on how aggressive Monday is, can tell us a lot of where it wants to get to. Okay? And overall, it's still paying attention to price action. It can keep doing this the whole way down. You're just looking for that one moment where it does this, it retests, and then it breaks higher, right? You're looking for the one moment that happens. This is just price action, price action, price action. We're having to do a lot of price action these days, right? Ooh, this is the most price action we've ever done on this channel. You probably see me draw this stuff up. Now we're trying to get even deeper into it because I think it's a critical time for people to understand this. So if Monday does not start here, but starts here, where should I expect the test? Well, weirdly enough, that would say I should expect it here, or just continue. If it continued, then you could get it here, or here. Now, the most likely thing is look for the first one, right? Whatever's right above you is what you look for. Whatever's right above you is pretty much what you look for. So if you only go to here, you're looking at this. If you go to here, you're looking at this. If you go to here, you're looking at this. Or this, but really you're looking here first. All right? The worst way for this to fall is actually to go boom, then go boom, right? See some kind of bounce, get back in that 95% line, and you tank. That is how you give the entire move back this week. So we have to see Monday's open, though, to see where this thing's opening up. We have no idea where price is going to be. Got to have patience, nerves of steel, and lightning reflexes and reading a chat all day, or at least the first, at the most critical times of day. Is probably not the best. So we're gonna finish this part up by continuing this to show how you would go lower. Okay, but I first wanted to see if anyone has questions for what we went through so far on the 30-minute alone, guys. Just 30-minute. Just 30-minute. Okay, just 30-minute. We haven't talked about UNH. We're going to talk about that after we sum up how we get down to here. Okay, we're going to show you that pathway. It doesn't have to be exact, but it will be something similar to this. I don't think we see the full move in 1 week. I see it extending. I see it extending into a week from now, like going into even all the way to the 30th or even June 3rd. But we just because I want something to happen doesn't mean price has to give it to me, okay? But are there, just clear it up, are there any questions? Are there any questions? What up, lumps? You're curious of why we kind of figured the Qs would go up. It didn't go up as high as I wanted. That actually was the first topic we went through of like, hey, some of the stocks in the Qs were showing some fishy behavior. It's either going to be really, really fast, like in Vixpiration might be your bottom. Like it literally might be like Thursday, Friday, you start to bottom out again. Or it's going to take up to, when is NVIDIA earnings? Is that the 28th? Thursday morning. So next Thursday, next Friday, or if you take care of business now, we'll look at where price is at. I believe we close bullish on Friday. Hey, that's if we well, a bullish close is just do we see this, right? A bullish close would just be do we ever take out that high that bounces, right? That's technically going to be an overall bullish close for the trend for the 30-minute. 28th of May. So the 29th is where you'll see the reaction. Okay, it doesn't seem like we have a ton of questions as far as the 30-minute time frame for what we've talked about. Okay, so now we've gotten those rejections, right? Boom, boom, boom. Let's say worst case here, you break through here, and this is where it becomes very important. I think, at least from my standpoint, maybe you would disagree with me, and I would be definitely open to your opinions in this area. This is where, for me, it starts to get a little, you know, what could happen really gets tossed up in the air. The main thing here is, do we take out this? If you take out this, you might not even see a retest of there. You could flush. You could flush and go test those lows very quickly. Okay? So down here, my assessment of this situation would be you are going to get some kind of move like this. Then you are going to see a small bounce here, right? Then you are going to take care of that gap because you are taking out this. This is a higher low for the SPY. This is where those buyers stepped in. So this is how I see it for now. And you notice that would take you into the 29th. Pay attention to the purple lines. These two lines are going to be very important, I think, if you're looking for that first little piece. As far as it goes, Timus, do you see this? So 585.04 and 575.88. Those are the two levels that I'm first going to be paying attention to this week. Okay, so a lot of you kind of agree with that. If you disagree, please let me know. I would love to hear your standpoint because this can happen in a million different ways down here. From here, what do we have to do from here? From this area right here, pretty much, right? Anywhere down in here. Well, one, we have to not lose that low. That's the, like, let's just really, really pump that into our brain. We lose that low, every single door is open. Every single door is open to revisiting those lower gaps. Okay? So what I would say we need to see from right here at gap fill is we can come into the middle of here. Let me draw another one. Let's get rid of this zone. Let's go to this one. And let's just draw up. I'm going to take the wick. I'm going to take the lower end too. I'm going to take the lower this time. We didn't do that previously. Previously, we had it like this, which I think is better personally. I think this is really good. But I'm going to extend that down just a little bit to give us some room. Okay, so what I would want to see is a tap. And once again, tell me if you disagree. I want to hear you guys' opinions. I want to see a tap into here. I don't want to even play with this. I don't want to play with it. I'm just being genuine here. It can happen and it can still, you know, do good things. I don't want to mess with it if we end up this low. And we're talking about down, down, down. Let's understand that still at any point, if we see this, it's switching back, right? At any point, if we see that, it's switching back. So if we're going to get down to this type of level, and we are going to take care of this gap. I don't want to mess with lower. I want to see from here that high taken out. I would like us to retest back into here, and then I would like to see upside. And from this point right here, I would start to say this market is going is back on the bull side, and we are very, very probable to see some kind of bull run in summer of 2025 here. I would say up until maybe mid-July. Like you could kind of see sideways, like you could see up and down, but mostly like up and down and up, like up with more ups than downs, like more percentage up, little bit percentage down, more percentage up, little bit percentage down from that point right there. Does anybody really like fully like 100% disagree with the assessment? And this is on the assessment that price is actually getting down here and what we would need to see down here. Is anybody fully disagreeing with that? If not, it's perfectly fine. If so, let me know. Okay, so not fully disagreeing if price were to get down to this type of level. Okay, awesome. So now that we've really gone through this, this is the full spectrum thing. We have built it all together. We have looked at the daily time frame. We have looked at the 2-hour time frame. 565 was my bottom target for the 27th, bounce starting then. So we still are pretty much connected. 565. Yeah, that would mean we're only getting to this gap. So that means you see more hiccups along the way, right? This scenario is saying we're going to go take care of all the gaps. The one that Oakland seems to be paying attention to more so would lean towards this type of behavior. And then you're able to see that boom, right? Is that more what it is? I think Oakland Group. I think that's how I see it. But yeah, we're in the same general area. We're both understanding that these are the areas to watch, most likely. But the key thing is, in the 30-minute here, is the first chance you are going to be able to see if bearish things are going to actually continue. But now, it is good to understand all of this. It is good to understand all of these bearish things. But I wanted to say right at the end here, don't forget what the trend is right now. Because if we do not see blood, if we do not see a bunch of blood on Monday, and you do not break through this price point of at least 588, then you're still holding trend, and you can still go up. Isn't that crazy? So we'll be watching this stuff live with you guys, right? We'll be watching this stuff live on Monday in the morning. We'll be watching it live on Monday in the afternoon. I have already gotten frustrated with myself enough on Friday that I told my wife, I was like, we might not have a YouTube video every single night, but we will have a live show every single afternoon this week. I guarantee it. I don't care how we have to do it. I don't care if YouTube, 100% of YouTube goes down and we have to be over on Rumble. We will be watching this together at the key moments in the morning for a few hours, in the afternoon towards the close for a few hours, up to a few hours, up to 2 hours is what I marked off. Okay. Everyone good. Let's make sure we're good with everything we've talked about. Now that the 30-minute, we've gone through it. It doesn't seem like we have a bunch of disagreement either way. It doesn't seem like we're all 100%. We haven't seen Monday's price action. We're aware that it's still positive overall, right? But we're understanding you got something bad. And so if it's going to become bad, let the price action tell you it's going to be bad. Don't believe the news, right? The news is always going to tell you it's bad. This was very difficult to put into a 20-minute video. This was very difficult, if you can't tell. If you can't tell with how long we're talking about it now. Imagine I condensed this into 20 minutes. Do you think you would have gotten as much as you got from this live video right now? Probably not. If you are still going to be on the bull side, you will see a pullback and you'll make a new high and you will not give up. I would say at least you will not give up 585 at any point. We're not getting a bounce at 585. Yeah, so if we're not going to get a bounce anywhere, if you're not going to get a bounce above 585, then you're in a risky time. You don't know yet, though. So don't speak in absolutes, guys. You can't speak into absolutes. You might have a probability play here. You might think you know, but you don't know. Here's how it goes. Do you want to know how trading goes, by the way? We said we would potentially get to like 595. We almost got there. God, we were so close. We said that we were likely to remain in a bullish tilt here and see upside to a weekly expected move, right? Did we know 100% here, even though we were pretty damn sure? Did we know 100% that that was there? And I'm going to teach you something about how to think as a trader, about knowing things, at least how I treat it, right? Take it with a grain of salt. It's how I treat it. You do not know that price is at a certain place until it gets to that place. You can have a 99% sureness that we are going somewhere. But what do we like to say on this channel? You could be 99% sure that you are walking outside after this video, going to grab some groceries with your family, going to come home and make a nice afternoon lunch for your family. You can be 99% sure. But do you know why you can't be 100%? What if you got into a car accident on your way to the grocery store? What if you got in a car accident on the way back? What if something really bad happened that you did not know was coming? Could happen. You don't know that you're going to do it until it's fully there. If you hold 586, you got a chance. If you do not hold 585, 586, yeah, you're potentially going down into at least 580. We knew this. I like that, Gorton. I always call you Gordon because my brother's dog's name is Gordon. What do we know here? Let's point out some things that we do know. We know that opening a big ass long position here is kind of dumb. Depends on who you're asking. But for me, I would say opening up a $10,000 call position after a massive 20-something% move, after we have crossed through the monthly expected move and gone out of our 68% zone, and you do have half the month left to get back into that zone, I would say that I know that I am never going to make that decision. I have a Patreon right now, yes. It's down in the description. We give out videos similar to this, actually. We've been doing little mini videos in the mornings last week. But I know now. I didn't know that before. Did I know it was a bad decision yet? No. Did I know here? No. Did I know here? Well, kind of. I have inclination. I have good probability to know, right? But once I'm actually there, I know that's not the best decision to make, right? And I know another thing, right? The market is built to make me as a retail trader make bad decisions, lose money, take my money. So these decisions mean even more. What are you guys talking about? Just go around and do anything there. Check out the trigger. Jim is a good trader and post. I've seen trade the trigger before. Yeah. He's kind of funny looking to me. I don't know why. I can't trust him for some reason. I don't know. I'm being judgmental. But I'm sure, I don't even know. I'm sure he probably caught this. He's crazy. That's what I thought. One time I came in there and I think he was like cussing a bunch or something. But yeah, I don't think he's a bad dude, but I wouldn't know. I need to maybe I'll keep an eye on him. Open group. How about that? I'll keep an eye on him because I like to vet channels for you guys. I'm not familiar with that one either. I do vet some channels for you guys sometimes. Okay. Awesome. Now, if we don't have any questions related to where we would go for any of these topics, if we have no questions, I want no questions about these topics. You can ask any question. I guarantee you today's the day. No question's going to be a stupid question today. If you're new to markets, I totally understand. The market is built to make you think the opposite of what's actually correct. I just want to make sure. Ron Walker is macro accurate, yes. Micro accurate, no. Is drawdown imminent? Most likely with a retrace discussion and a need to test the zone below, yes. Most likely you will end up filling this gap down here. Most likely you will. But you haven't seen that trade yet. That's important. Like, the most probable thing and when to take that trade, you'll probably hear this from a lot of traders all the time. Your timing is very important. Okay, let's get into UNH then. Let's get into some other topics then, okay? It's not imminent. It's not 100%. It's not 100% to get down here. If you really wanted to take this into perspective for next week, there is a 5% chance we end up there. You have a piece of news that can get you there this week, though. Okay? Oh, I'm gonna fun account this, man. I already did the hedge play, right? Small hedge, treating it like I have calls. We discussed that at the beginning of this video. If I'm going to take a position trying to call a top, what sizing of position should it be? If I'm going to try to call a top outside of a monthly expected move, it's good timing. I'm not going to beat you up if you did it. I think it's smart. Personally, that's me. A lot of people would say it's dumb. But the reason that it's smart is if you're paying attention to the position size. If you bet $10,000 that we were going to crash down to 575 on Monday, that's a bad decision most of the time. You don't see that trade setup, right? But if you're risk to rewarding and doing a small hedge-like position here, even if you don't have calls, but you still have that mentality, that's better in my mind. That's better to me. That's how I like to do it, if you will. Because we all see this, right? Like we're not skipping through. We're going through price action today, guys, but we're not skipping through these things, right? We're not oblivious. We're not blind. We're not blind to what's going on here with momentum, right? Like we understand there is a trade setup here. I'm just suggesting shorting a short squeeze is bad. So wouldn't it be hypocritical for me during a short squeeze, during a positive trend, during a new high to say, oh, shorting with a maximum amount is the smartest thing to do? It doesn't make sense. Taking off your longs makes sense. Hedging the position makes sense. Taking a hedge-like position for the initial short makes sense, right? Those things make sense to me. That's okay, Virus. And if it doesn't bug you, it doesn't bug you. That's fine. It's okay. Because it's a bullish trend, right? The bullish trend. It's just we have more info in this type of area with a monthly expected move, Virus. So we can chat about it more. You should do this every Sunday. I love it. Oh, we'll try. If the market's interesting enough, we might do this for like Patreon members or something like that. That'd be fun. Just a tighter, more concise group is always a good thing, guys. So I'll try to leave it open. Maybe in May we'll do it a couple times for everyone, though. I like doing it for everyone because it helps the most people, though. That's what I like. So I want to give more benefits, even more benefits to people on Patreon. But at the same time, I want to help as many people as possible. Was there sus options volume before close? Not necessarily. I think it's more just the price action behavior from certain stocks in section 1 that we went over. Andrew, it would be a good thing to kind of skip through this video once it is posted, or even skipping through right now and trying to go through all those points 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the bottom right of your screen. We just tried to tackle those in sequence. It's a very, I think we've gotten through it slow enough to make it make the most sense, to make it the most helpful, and that's the goal from this today, is to be helpful. If ads and things like that are playing on your guys' stuff right now, I turned off all ads for this. I don't want this to be anything to do with anything besides help. All right? I literally want this to be 100%. This is what I see. Take it or leave it. All right? Let's go look at UNH because it seems like a lot of people are talking about it. What did we say about UNH? What did we say about UNH when it was here? We drew up this zone. What did we say about UNH? Hey, I think that it is a potentially a good investment, right? As far as you need to know about the company, you need to know these type of things. Like, you need to know more on that side. I don't like to invest in, say, UNH, right? It's not something that's on my radar. I'm only really invested in Target. I'm not necessarily, it's not on my radar. I have other things to pay attention to. But I gave you this zone, and I pretty much said anywhere in that zone is good accumulation. Anything in that zone is good accumulation, but you need to watch for if your investment goes bad. How does your investment go bad here? It loses this zone. That's one. But not only that, it loses the zone. You get earnings later on in July, and then you like retest, and then you fail again. That is where you do not want to be in this, in my opinion. That is where you can start to see way worse things. Way worse things, way worse. It opens the door to even more. If you do not hold in this zone, or, if you break this low, it starts to open a lot of doors to even more downside, okay? Thank you for going everything slow. Green Hope, I appreciate you saying that. I didn't want to, I'm worried about my tone right now because when I talk slow, I don't want people to think like, I think I know more than you. I think this about you. I'm just trying to get the information across clearly, okay? Yeah, so if you lose this zone, a lot of doors to downside start to open to 130, start to open to 93. If you start to lose that, you're looking at the highs from 2006 and 2008, right? 2007. You're looking at the potential to go all the way down to $65, right? Now, that's not saying, from an investment perspective, though, if you know more about UNH than I do, if you know more about the company than I do, and you are comfortable with accumulating, and it's an actual investment, which is a topic that I talked about on Twitter for a brief moment because I got frustrated at some freaking tweets from degens who talk about investing, but they're not actually investing. Let's do that talk with UNH. If you buy UNH today and you're saying you're investing, are you going to watch UNH next week? Yeah. Okay. I hope so, Oakland Group, but I try to talk in a way that's not. Buy your daughter some ice cream. Oh, that's awesome. We're weird. We don't allow her to have ice cream yet, but we'll give her some mango, some frozen mango. She likes that. She likes her popsicles right now. Right? If you're investing in UNH at 250, 260, are you expecting returns tomorrow? Thank you so much for that, Virus, by the way. I appreciate you being here bright and early, buddy. Yeah, she loves mango. So she loves mango. We tried to make her some fancy little cute popsicles, and now she's like, I just want mango. Ricos, thank you so much for joining us, buddy. And we'll talk about Tesla in a moment, but let's get through UNH. If you want an investment to be a good one, the biggest thing you have to give it, I'm going to give you a 4-letter word. Here's what I'm looking for in the chat. Hopefully someone can point this out. In order for an investment to be good for you, what do you need to give it for it to turn out to be good? Time. Time, time, time. Keep typing it. Time, 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 time. You have to give investments time. And if it proves over time to be a bad investment, you might want to look somewhere else. It is fine to make a bad investment, but you don't know if it's a bad investment if you buy it today and sell tomorrow. Now, you might have more skills than other people and understand, hey, I'm invested here. We broke the low. We retested and we broke again. I do not want to give this thing any more of my time. Time after time. But you say, I don't want to give it any more of my time because time is what? Time is what? Come on. Time is what? Money, baby. Yeah, time is money, right? So if I want to give more time to an investment, it could give me money. But if this is showing me the signs that it is not going to utilize that time to give me money, I am out. And I can look at something else. And if UNH ends up doing this, I don't give a shit because I'm looking somewhere else. Or I'm looking for it to show me that it's going to utilize my time well, and then I can invest in it. Now, the good thing about UNH, if you're accumulating at these type of levels, or even if you decide to accumulate at lower levels, pretty risky at that point, but it's an investment. You're willing to wait 10 years, right? Let's actually talk about investing, not fake investors who buy something, look at a 5-minute chart. That's what I said on Twitter. Fake investors buy something, they watch it on a 5-minute chart every day and put themselves through emotional turmoil, all right? The good thing about UNH is what? What's this guy right here? What's this say? Oh, you can't see it. Hold on, let me turn this off for a sec because we're done with this section anyway. What's this guy right here? I feel personally attacked. Sorry, Gore. I don't mean to personally attack you. I promise. Everything I say on this channel is overall, I would say 99% of the time, it's all to be helpful. I'll give myself that 1% because I don't believe in 100% until it actually happens. So until I've actually helped you, I can't say much, right? I need to actually help you. I want that for sure. Hey, this was helpful. All right. It pays a dividend. Oh shit, it pays a dividend. Holy crap. So you're telling me that if I bought this here and other people bought it here, I'm getting a 60% discount. What else is there, right? If you know about UNH and you've been buying UNH and you've been invested in UNH for years, for 10 years, isn't this just like a discount? Right? If that new Switch came out and said, hey, we're selling it for 50% off this weekend, would you think about it? If you wanted that Switch and you go, it's a little expensive, and then the next day they go, it's 50% off, would you go, ooh, I kind of want that? And then you invest in it to do what? Utilize your time. You're trading time for fun. You're trading a little bit of money to utilize your time to have fun. That's it. But for UNH, let's use our skills. Well, if UNH is going to be back on the bull side again, what does it have to do? And look how bad this is, by the way. Look how bad UNH was. Look how risky look how shit this was. I want to show you guys just how bad this was as far as the rug pull goes. I'm going to show you how bad it is. Look for everything you look for in price action. 1, you go up. We don't make the new high, so we're going down. Then we go up. We test in the zone. We fail. Then what do you see? Earnings pump. A fake earnings pump to show you the pathway higher, right? A fake pre-earnings pump to show you the pathway higher, and bam. Bad. Do you know how freaking rug pulley and crap that looks as far as price action? This means that you are likely to see a bounce at some point, maybe even a daily bounce, right? But this means that when you get that daily bounce, you might come up and fill gaps and do what? Set up the lower high. Then you have to really seriously pay attention if you break this low, and then get that little reaction to go lower. Or you will probably have to see something like this. Then you can feel more comfortable in your investment again. Earnings fucked you here. I'm just going to say it. Earnings really screwed you over here. Because all the price action was saying good things. It made the pathway higher to trick you out. And then they rugged it. It's not, and you wouldn't say necessarily rigged. Maybe no one saw it coming. You don't know who, I don't know who this damaged. I'm not paying too close attention to it. But this is what you're going to have to see to most likely head higher now. And actually, if you really want to talk about it, you would love to see this right now. This is what you would love to see. You'd love to get a snapback because a lot of people you said are buying it. You'd love to get a snapback. Then you would like to test into that zone and actually just go up. This would be too deep. You actually want to see this. This is actually better. I think I made a mistake. This is actually better. Yeah, this is actually better. I totally made a mistake showing the pathway down again. If you see the pathway down again, you still assume bad, right? So you'd hope it doesn't give you that pathway down at all. It would tap into here, fill the gap, show people some hope by going past the gap, then seeing resistance to retest down in here, and then it would produce above that high, and you're back in an uptrend. Okay. Yeah, sorry if I mean, the other situation is still like you can pay attention to something like that. This would just be much better. All I do is set up for options this Monday. Decent question, not bad. What do you need to see to get into an option on Monday? And which option are you looking for, right? Really depends on the time frame. So what kind of time frame option are you guys like really looking for, right? That's kind of what it is. Yeah, you have to be patient, Chip. So with UNH, by the way, let's just put it this way. Let's put it into terms of when do I actually take the play. If I'm investing, I don't care. If I'm investing and I know about the company and I'm just like, this is a discount, I don't give a shit. If I'm trading it, say on, bigger options extended out 6 months, a year, what do I need to see? Am I taking this right now? Let's just ask that question first. If I'm taking an option on UNH, do I take that? DM, perfect answer, no. No. When do I take the trade throughout this? Who can tell me? When do I take the trade? Actually, we'll talk about a risky person versus a not risky person. Perfect. Pretty much it is when you get a higher low. This would be the riskier person. This would be the less risky person. And then I'll show you what. I'll show you the other one too. Yeah, I would say it's like that. You would not take it here. You have to you have no idea. Stop pretending you do. You have no idea what's going to happen over here. There are no bars. You have no clue. No clue. And if this person took a chance here, I would say pay attention to the management of your trade in case you go bloop. All right? You have to see price action get above that high first. This is the risky person. This is the potentially good trader. This is probably the better trader in my mind. Would you agree? Who seems to be looking at this and day trading a little bit, or not necessarily day trading, but chip chaser, maybe chip chaser could say. Would you agree? Yes, 100%. Best Killer says yes. This is the actual trader that I would put money behind. This guy, he takes on some risk. I would look at his behavior over time. Right? Because he has no idea if this is going to go like that. He has no clue. He has some assumption. He has some good things down here. What is he doing down in here? Is he looking for 2-hour divergence? Down in here, does he see this? Does he see a 2-hour divergence that then breaks the new high to show him the uptrend? And does he go, oh yeah, baby? Is that what he's looking for first? There's too much to, I don't believe in people digging that deep. The first guy's a degen. The second guy is a guy that assumes a little bit more risk, but probably knows a little bit about what he's doing. The third guy is waiting for the actual trend to show him which way the chart wants to go. But you could wait that whole time. That's how important patience is. This is why you should not try to make money every single day in the stock market. I know you day traders out there are going to hate me for that, but I truly believe that. I believe you're going to be patient more than you're going to have a trade on. Right? Especially, well, in these times, if you're in a, once you're in the bull market, you should have a trade on. Okay. Once you're in that bull run type thing, once the spy's actually like doing the thing, right? Once the spy does this, if it does this and this, yeah, you better have some plays in here. You potentially could just ride that thing. Like I'm thinking about just like, I'm genuinely with these type of looks, by the way. Let's actually make the zone here for the SPY real quick. With these type of zones and this type of price action, it's a very cool thing that you can do is you can go, okay, let's see if we figure our stuff out. That crosses up. You go, I'm a go. And then if that thing continues to run, you see the new high, you're nice and comfortable. You go, all right, what am I going to go do? What am I going to go do for the next couple of days? I'm going to touch grass, baby. I'm going to go touch grass for a couple of days. I'm not worried about that. Right? I'm not worried about that at all. I'm just like, cool. Let's go do something. Let's go Chuck E. Cheese. No, fuck that. Don't go to Chuck E. Cheese. Please, for the love of God, do not go to Chuck E. Cheese. No. Go treat yourself. Or do something even better. I'll tell you what to do. Do something even better. If you're new, if you don't have a lot of money to risk, if you don't have a lot of money and you're risking too much money, right? You're not really paying attention to position size. During that time where you have a few days, go make some money in a different way. Go make money in the best way you can. Not risky. Go to work, right? If you're young. If you're older, take a vacation at that point. Like this is where you will see a lot of rich people take vacations. OnlyFans. Yeah. Start that Foot Finder account. 572 area is the magnet. 565 is the cheese. It'll hit 565 by Monday. If we open at 565 on a Monday, pretty much what you're okay here. Let's do this because someone did ask about 30 minutes for the SPY and a possible position. I was more so asking like, what kind of time frame are you looking at? Like, because I don't know the type of options exactly you guys want to take because we're all different. It's fine. The time to take a play is to figure out which way the trend is first. Because if you just do this and you curl up, the trend is still that way. All right, day traders are going to be happy. I would watch out for that to break down then. The other time is when do I go short, right? This is the go long. Maybe even potentially this is the go long, right? If you don't get that, oops, and reject off that daily move. But where's the short? The short in my mind for this week, if we're not going to see, by the way, taking into context, chip chaser saying 565 way down here, okay? On Monday. That'd be crazy. We'll talk about that, actually. So if I wanted to go short and say we gap down to here, I should probably look for a price to get to here or here and reject. So ultimately, if we draw that in, what are you waiting for? A lower high if you're a shorter term trader, very short term. You think it's all because of expiration? The timing of it is sus, sus. You guys don't hear me cuss a lot, but it's with this kind of market and the stuff that's been happening, you probably heard me slip up a few times now. But I kind of believed in the see something really ugly before Vixpiration. We talked about that multiple times. I thought it could extend into Vixpiration if they're just trying to crush the VIX. But the way to actually find the position, and what everyone's going to ask me is, should I short here? Should I short here? Should I short here? If you open up at an extreme low, shorting is going to be a very difficult decision. And being patient and letting it drag people into the short for a few points and then see a ripping bounce that then fails, this is the potential short. You've already seen the pathway down. You've rejected. This is how you break down through here, right? Let the market show you. I think Jesus cusses. I cuss in real life a lot, guys. I wasn't a degen with stocks, but I was a degen in college. Shit, I used to be able to chug a handle of vodka. I could chug a half a handle of vodka. I used to be bad. My life's really turned around since I was like 22, 23. My life's really turned around. All right. That's just, that trying, like I said this about you guys on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw it. I want you guys to, I want to say this to you guys live with you guys here right now. I want to say what I said on Twitter. I said, dead ass, our community we are building is amazing. And I go, you guys have made my passion for trading go even further. I couldn't appreciate you guys enough. I'm excited for another week. I'm so excited about it. And then my one before that, I said my risk to reward comment of buying puts at the last second on Friday seems to be an all right one for now. Thank you to my community and everyone who shows up every single day to get that 0.1% better. That is you right now. If you're here at this live show right now and you tuned in on a Sunday, you're that person. And I think that's fantastic. No matter what level you're at, what you're experiencing right now in your reality, no matter what, you showed up today. Nobody else did, right? If you really consider it, someone did not. You today could get 0.1% better than the person who did not show up today. And then I finished with, it's a constant battle. And consistency with risk in mind is proving to still be the best way. What is that? That is trading like freaking water. I love it. So thank you guys. I already risked to rewarded with the hedge size position. I want to make sure that's clear. This is not going to be some life-changing, I shorted $10,000 and now I'm going to make $5 million kind of thing. Follow me on Rumble also. Hey, thank you, because we might be switching back to Rumble. Keep it nice and concise for the later day streams next month. We're doing this for May. I'm gonna decide, because I've kind of liked the end of the day, but I do like our Rumble streams too. I think they're fun. How long is the sale on for the course? It is for the end of May. The end of May. Yeah. You can literally learn a lot of this. We're going to do a big, the reason that I never put a ton of price action into it is because, one, it might encourage you to do it on shorter time frames. I'm someone who thinks people can be more successful looking at those 30-minute time frames at least. But price action is a really good thing. And once you learn price action, you can be inclined to think you're a genius and be able to do 1 minute charts. And that is why I think I hesitated putting a lot of price action things into the course. We overall in the course just want to show you how to understand how markets move and good decision versus bad decision timing. Okay, but I personally have already started to put together my format for going through a price action video. You guys are getting a lot of that right now completely for free. So I appreciate you being here and hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Oh, Oakland had a great play on HIMS. Did HIMS end up going up more, by the way? 2 hour time frame, by the way. When's the short for the 2 hour time frame? If you want like the big leg down, if you don't get already the big leg down, if you stop around that 95% line and you react up, that's where you're looking for it. Right? You're looking to lose this, and ultimately the 2 hour is going to be tricky because you technically have to lose this to actually be like super, we can see that bearish, what we call it, bearish like pathway down. Okay? You have to lose that low down there, really. But this is kind of your little cup and handle hint here. So the better thing to do is look for the bounce and then see if that's rejecting from a select area that we pointed out in this video. That's the timing. All right. And we'll be live, so we'll be able to talk about that timing as well. Some people like to do it this way, by the way. Some people like to do it this way. And they say, okay, we broke this low, so therefore we are going to retest, and they will take the position here. Some people do that. And some people are very good at that, right? I would say more of the people who are better at that would wait for this low to be broken. I would say more so this low would be much easier to see. And then you react up, and they would make a decision potentially right here at like I'll say 587, actually, a little bit lower, but 587. So they would wait and see this, watch for that bounce, know that we're most likely going to reject. I think the highest you could get to in this bounce is potentially like 588.50. And then they would say, okay, here I'm just going to buy a short because I've seen the pathway down, right? Hey, Nazim, I highly suggest, Nazim, clicking through this video. I know it's a long one, guys. I know it's super long. And if you're showing up now, it's going to seem dry. This was the most helpful way to do it, and I apologize for it being so long, but if I would have condensed this into 20 minutes, I don't think it would have had the effect that we've gotten during this live show, and I hope some people would agree. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, okay? And then we can go into some other stocks, okay? Why don't we go through some Mag 7s, some interesting ones. Maybe we'll go through the NVIDIAs and things like that, okay? Yeah, play it on some big speed. That's a good point. All right, I'll be right back in about 1 to 2 minutes, all right? And if you got somewhere to be, you need to go hang out with family first, all right? I'm gonna go say hi to mine, but family first. This video will be here for you later, okay? All right, guys, I ran back. By the way, with Bitcoin, I'm not necessarily taking this in any context to Bitcoin, okay? You can take this in context to maybe the Qs. I'm not taking this in any context to Bitcoin. I still think Bitcoin will need to retest at some point, but I think Bitcoin could get higher first. I think Bitcoin would be really, really good to show you that it can get above here. Show you up first, right? By the way, for Bitcoin, I want to see up first, right? I want to see this, or this flops right now, and then we break through there in some way. I want to see that take out this wick. I think you still could see like more consolidative type stuff. I think you could see a dump into this to retest before actually going higher. But the big thing is just, do we make the new high? New high, retest, go again. Yeah, but Bitcoin's its own beast, and I haven't gone through that as much as the SPY this weekend. Like, I went through this stuff all morning. I went through this stuff yesterday. I've been really doing this, and then this morning I came to the conclusion a live video is the best thing to do. Just me with the BTC May. My observations. AMD, you want to go look at AMD? Okay. AMD, very interesting. Shows you the pathway higher though, doesn't it? So right away, is AMD bearish on the daily chart? 300 million, 40x leverage on Bitcoin. Why? He has, like, why? Why do people with this amount of money make, like, you guys, I hope no one runs into this problem. Money can't buy happiness. It can make you happier. It can make you feel safer. But if you're just greedy, if you're just, your whole life is for money, someone like me will feel bad for you. Like, if you make $1 million trade, guys, and you turn $50,000 or $100,000 into $1 million, like, go enjoy your freaking life. You can always make more money, but you can't buy back time. You've heard me say this all the time. That's why you hear me talk. I talk about my family on this channel a decent amount, and I'm gonna have them say hi to you guys at some point. Once Ari can talk a little bit better, we'll turn that camera on. We used to have a cam on all the time, just for the function of the stream. It's better. But yeah, we'll hang out with you guys. I got a nice little zoo picture I could show you guys. Just got to put it on here. You're welcome, Abdullah, and thank you for being here, buddy. Thank you guys for being here. Okay. For AMD, is this bearish on the daily time frame? No. I got some targets for you, Raymond. Oh, Patreon members, I am going to put out those weekly expected moves in a little bit today. Okay? So Patreon members, I'm going to be putting out those weekly expected moves with the second standard deviation, okay? The second standard deviation should help you out this week in making a decision if we see crazy downside on Monday. $150 coming in 2 months if market moves up? I think so. I think you're okay with shouting that out, because you're seeing the pathway higher. If you continue to see the pathway higher, then you're looking at, like, here. Look at that. That's where you're kind of looking. Pretty crazy. That would be more like investment. Options can do whatever option want to do. Daily time frame is not bearish here at all for AMD. Not bearish at all. I like it short Fridays. I think that's perfect. And I like that last part, you know, choose to take on some risk, choose to do that. Like, you know, utilize your time to make money, treat money as something important when you're young, still make sure you give those times to have fun. But as you get older, it's like, you know, as your time gets smaller and smaller, it's a good understanding that your percentage of time might be getting smaller and smaller. So you might want to just, like, enjoy life, enjoy family. All right. So for AMD, the points that I really want to pay attention to, well, you have a lot. You have a shit ton. You have a ton. And I think AMD might give up all of this. I think AMD might come all the way down to the lower end of this. That's my assessment on AMD because of how it likes to behave. But we'll talk about it like it's anything else. I think AMD, you want to be paying attention to that first little, oh, not the first one, right? Not the first one. First one, you're probably going to blow out. Second one, you're probably going to blow out. This one right here is interesting. But overall, I think AMD has a good chance to come down to where I think that gap fill is something good to pay attention to. But you're paying attention to 105.50. Anything at 105.50 is good. Anything in the zone is good in this scenario. What you don't want to see, right? It's always good to pay attention to X and not X. So the not X is going to be, you do not want to break, I would say, all the way through 91.97. This wick right here. What is this wick? 91.87. 91.87, I don't want to break that. Really, I don't want to lose this zone at all. I don't really want to see that touched. So I would rather us just come in, maybe take care of this gap at 102.50 and curl up into positive territory. So the way to go higher is you just set up a higher low, and it's as simple as that. There's so many gaps here, though, that I'm inclined to really look for, hey, how, what's the price action in the shorter time frame saying, right, to get down to this type of level? Because you have a lot going on with this stock. You have a lot going on. Yeah, you have a lot going on, and it's AMD. It's the Advanced Money Destroyer, right? So it shows its face higher. It already sets the trap for retail. That's why it lagged behind. That was one of the things we discussed in the beginning of this video. And then I think you're due for some kind of big retracement here. And for AMD, I think they could show it as horrible, to be 100% honest with you. Now, that's all thoughts. You still want to be paying attention to what actually happens in reality in front of you on the charts. But for me, I would be inclined to pay attention to 3 points, I would say. One would be right here at 105.50. Two would be about at 102 to 103. And three would be all the way down towards 96.80. Those would be the three best ones to pay attention to. Trading strategy is going to be up to the individual, Lawrence. And I'm sorry to say that for you. You're going to have to figure it out if you want to be a trader. I would say the easiest form of trading is potentially what you're seeing in front of you right now. It's pretty much swing trading if you really think about it, because what are you looking for? You're looking for a daily pullback that curls back up into positive territory, curls back up above that center line for the RSI, and then you just go, okay, cool. And then it makes a new high, right? You hold on to it for a few weeks, makes a new high. Then you say the same thing. Okay, it's probably going to consolidate or pull back, right? And you can swing trade in that manner. I actually did this all the time. This is how I really started. I swing traded back in the day. I did a lot of crypto actually, but I used to just swing trade. What was this stuff? Was it Apple? I think it was like Apple or Microsoft back then most of the time. I did take swing trades on like Zillow, and then I became a smartass and had that earnings flop. That's what, learn from my mistakes. That's what I like to say here. Earnings is a rough business. I would say swing trading is very, very simple for a beginner. But if you can go further and even learn a lot of the things we talk about here, we have a swing trading course for $50. You know why it's $50? Because I think every single person should be able to learn at least the basic things, and it could be successful. If you're simple-minded enough and you understand risk enough at that point, swing trading can be pretty simple. If you take it to the next level, say with the full technical analysis course, that's 80% off. If you take it to that level, you'll get a little bit better, right? But it will incline you to turn more into a trader, say like myself. Okay, but I want you to like, if you're sitting there and you're not sure about what strategy or how long you want to do things, or if you even want to be a trader, maybe you want to be an investor, just sit down and have a talk with yourself, okay? Do you want to sit in front of a computer every single day and day trade? If the answer to that is no, cool. That's the same answer as me, right? If your answer is, hey, I'd like to invest and work a job, that's great. We're not saying every single person should be a trader. We want you to figure out what's best for you. Okay, a lot of people in this chat would say the same sentiment. I guarantee you not one person in this chat is out to get you and wants you specifically to fail. I really hope not, because if you have that sentiment towards someone in my chat, I have your back, the person you're coming after, right? We should not wish bad on anyone because karma's a bitch and what you get is what you give. If you give negativity, you're going to end up getting negativity even if you're not getting negativity right now, okay? So if you want to sit in front, if you really like the thrill and sitting in front of a computer and day trading every single day, okay. If you want to take a day trade, you got a chunk of money, you want to just get good at day trading to take a couple of day trades a month and live a great life, that's fantastic too. If you want to be a position guy, just understand, hey, what's the macro side saying? And you want to be like a leap option guy, that's awesome, right? I'm open to this. I'm just hoping that this community, I guess, not necessarily environment, this community is giving you helpful info. So at the end of the day, if your trading strategy is working for you and this channel is not helpful for you in any way for that strategy, I respect your time, okay? Keep doing what you're doing. If you want to hang out here, that's great. But I hope that what you're getting here is actually helpful, okay? Awesome. AMD, this looks like the more likely scenario. Let's tap into the shorter time frames. I know we're kind of dragging things out every single talk because we're doing like, you know, my stupid psychology stuff all the time that I always talk about. But that's as simple as you could make it. Look for the daily pullback, look for the daily higher low, and you got a good trade. That is the most likely scenario, by the way. Okay? As far as 2 hour goes, where do you have to lose for the risk of downside to start to really be open? It's right here. Notice how close that is to what? Gap fill. Okay? So be open to this low, getting a wick, going down below it. Really pay attention if the rejection happens down here. However you want to get here, right? However this stock, can I click on something? However the stock wants to get here, it could do the loop-de-loop and pull, right? However it wants to get there. If it breaks this low at some point and you see this, understand you're still in the zone and that you're actually looking for what? Still a retest to fail to break that low. Okay? Even if you lose this, you have a gap right beneath it that could be unfinished business, right? You're still looking for the sign that it wants to go deeper, all right? At this point, hopefully you have made some kind of bounce and you can see if this move is doing this, see if that daily chart's curling up, see if you get a retest into there, and then it goes boom, and you go, okay, now I'm good to go. Now I can start taking bullish trades, okay? This is going to be a lot of similarities for a lot of other stocks that we cover because these gaps were like just below the gap fill. So they could be unfinished business to kind of shake people out, to show a weird price action look, and we'll be watching it with you throughout the week and next week. That's right, Swift Sir. I highly suggest you go through the whole thing, man. Click through. There's some great, I think for me, my goal is achieved for this video right now. It's a long thing. It's 2 hours. But if someone is willing to sit there and sift through it for 2 hours, I think you're going to find something very helpful. Put it on that. What did we say? Someone said put it on the 1.5 speed. Christopher, good luck on the futures trading, buddy. Let me know how it goes, okay? Come back to the live show. Let me know how it goes. Let me know about your plays, bud. Didn't know you were going to come online. It was a spur of the moment thing. Like you guys have heard me say it 1,000 times. I was making a video for an hour this morning, and I was like, there's no way that this video is going to be helpful for a 20-minute video. You gotta take your time on these things. So and this is actually a good thing. Notice how long we've talked about these topics. Think how long I have looked at charts and thought about these things for the last like day and a half. And I'm pretty, at least I'd like to say, in my mind, I'm pretty good at it. Right? So it still took me a decent amount of time to be able to see like exactly what I'm looking for next week with that news drop. Okay? So this took time to put together. Hopefully this shortens up your time, but this should tell you your analysis overall shouldn't be 5 minutes. You want to dig in, okay? Yeah, sorry about that, Nana, but you can go through the whole video. That's why I'm doing it. It's posted here, okay? Do we have like, I think someone said Amazon. Let's go to Amazon. Amazon's another one that I think is just fishy. The price action here was fishy on Friday. And I was looking, I even went through, like, if you go through 5-minute charts, I want you to see what's going on here. You never got the squeeze moment, and then you got a big news drop. Someone in Amazon knew about this news drop. Look at this. Boom. 5-minute never makes pathway down. It's about to make, look at this. You're about to make the pathway up. You're just about to make the pathway up. And look at this. High 206.87. High 206.85. And look at that absolute clamp down in the first 5 minutes of the day. And then what do you proceed to do throughout the day? You keep raising the floor, but you never see the breakthrough moment. And then you get horrible news. I think Amazon was pinned. And that's my assessment. I could be totally wrong. There's no real way for me to truly figure it out 100%, but that's how I see it. I think they did some funky things with tech stocks on Friday, and someone knew about the move before you did. That's terrible. AMD, we did just go over. If you just want to go back about 5 minutes there, daily pullback, that's all you're looking for. Let's go through Tesla. I did see some people mention Tesla. Tesla again, another one, little bit fishy. A little bit fishy. Because you do make the pathway higher. But Tesla have some of the highest implied volatility. And Tesla was absolutely ripping, absolutely snapped back. You know what the SPY did? The SPY absolutely ripped. The SPY absolutely snapped back. And then it just flopped. The reason I think this is interesting is because it kept you at the highs. It kept you buying into the bullish trend. It made the pathway higher. But you never saw it break through the rest of the day. And then I go, this is an extremely heavy retail stock. I am a big believer in, these markets are built to rip money away from retail, and they use a lot of retail for liquidity. And so I see something like this before a big news drop, and I just go, so the SPY did this, but then went like this. You're telling me Tesla, with a huge amount of implied volatility and a ton of people wanting to own Tesla right now, didn't do that? I don't buy it. Let's go over SMCI. Thank you for mentioning another stock. I've got a couple more in me, guys, and then I'll have to go. SMCI is going to be different, first of all. As far as it goes with SMCI, the hard part with SMCI is because it is so tied to Bitcoin, right? It is so tied to Bitcoin, it's insane. Okay. As far as it goes, let me get rid of some lines here. As far as it goes, though, when you were here, notice this: no pathway lower, no pathway lower, no pathway lower, ever, right here. Not even here. Over here, you're like, sheesh. But guess what? There's the higher low. Boom to the upside. Did we ever break this? No, we gave it all back, but we didn't break it. So this is good overall. It's good overall. But let me just tell you right now. Oh, I'm sorry, SMCI. I'm sorry, Super Microcomputer. I'm so sorry. I was thinking MSTR. My bad. SMCI, for the most part, though, it did what it needed to do, and it's still doing what it needs to do at the moment. Where SMCI starts to become worse, and I'm sorry I mixed the two up. My brain was still thinking Bitcoin and MSTR. Fucking MSTR. Is if you take out this low, right? So as of right now, I think the daily scale might not want to fully cross here, first of all. So actually, SMCI is kind of making me think something here. Who was bringing up that we could see this by Vixpiration? Like who is bringing up Vixpiration and that we could just see dramatic downside into Vixpiration, and then we just bounce up on like Thursday? You were Sarush? Okay. SMCI kind of has that argument. That's very weird, but SMCI has that argument. Okay, look at this. So boom, boom, right? You go down. You never make the pathway lower, right? You made a new low here. It changes. It does. It changes. But what instead did we do? We took out that high. All right, we took this out. We took this little wick out. Awesome. That means the direction is still up for the daily chart. You just went positive. The thing you don't want here is to see this MACD go negative, which means what? We don't want to lose this level right in here. We don't want to lose this box, right? So what's very likely to happen here is you're probably going to revisit that box to show you something scary. And I would incline to draw a line right here. Bam. Right there. If you see a move below this, awesome. If you see a move below this, not awesome. But if you see a move to here, that's very, very nice. That's the first point that I would really be paying attention. Well, obviously, the first point you pay attention to is here, right? Because that takes you into the center of this. Okay. You can kind of see it. If you can't see it with the blind eye, that's why we're drawing it up these days. Bam. See that center point right in there? So that's where you want to watch. So the second point you want to watch is, oh, look at that. That line right there. And then you want to see if there's some kind of flash move to go, oh, we're bad. Fill the gap, but not losing this in here, not losing this in here. So SMCI could be decent and might benefit from something like an NVIDIA earnings later, but I think it needs to retest into this bottom area. So really the zone I'm paying attention to is actually down here. There you go. And then you can ask yourself a question here. Where did the buyers step in? Very simple question. Where did the buyers actually step in? Right here, right? Very easy. But where did the first buyers step in? Well, there's a gap here. So some of the first buyers stepped in right at this gap. So I'd be watching 32 like a hawk, and I'd be looking for a higher low. And that could, with the news that we got, that could be over in days. That's kind of crazy. All right. Who asked for SMCI, just so I can shout you out real quick? Ryad, is this making some sense, at least from the daily time frame? I do not relate stocks directly to Bitcoin in any way, just so you are aware. I do not. They can show you at times like one leading the other, but you'd have to focus on that. Okay, Ryad, I'm glad. Now, I could go into those shorter time frames and tell you what to look for in those things, but you know what to look for at this point. You're looking for the trend. If it goes bearish, to retest and fail, go bearish again, and then see a big move that takes you above the previous retest, if that makes sense without drawing things up. So to put that into drawings on the shorter time frames, you're looking for this to retest, to break down, and then you build back above that retest, you see the higher low come in. That's pretty much what you're looking for on a lot of charts we're going to cover, right? Someone shouted out another one right after that. Palantir. Oh my goodness, Palantir. This is another reason that I think that someone new and they're trying to trap retail heavily here. And they're going to show you something garbage, and then something great could happen. If it is by expiration, I have a hard time believing that Palantir gets all the way down to here. This would be more, I think, the scenario for like, hey, we're going down for a couple of weeks or even, maybe into June. All right. That's going to be an absolute rug pull if this happens. I hope that doesn't happen to a lot of people. I genuinely do. As of right now, we could give up that entire move, right? What we want to consider with Palantir, weirdly enough, is going to be the shorter time frames, because the 2-hour was able to show you that pathway higher overall. And overall, you're looking for this to hold up better. So what I would actually first pay attention to for something like Palantir is, Do we see something really bad into this type of area? And then do we see the 2 hour able to curl up? That's still pretty damn bullish. The way that this goes bearish on the 2 hours, you lose here. You have to lose all of this, and then you're probably going to bounce and retest something, and then you have to fail. So it takes a lot of time to get down there. If this is just going to be some mean drop for a few days, and what if we don't even curl over daily charts? That would be insane if it's that fast. But Palantir has a lot to give up in order to be bad. So I am inclined to more look for good than bad now. Weirdly enough, from Palantir's look. It's kind of strange, but it is available for the absolute rug pull, right? This is the one stock that I was like, I am freaked out by this bad boy. I hope it ends up producing well because it's, we haven't seen any price action yet. But overall, I'd be looking right in here. See this block? It's a very nice block. That's where I would first be paying attention. And I will get, I haven't calculated all of them yet. I haven't calculated Palantir's. I am going to put out the Palantir weekly expected moves on Patreon. I'm going to put out the second standard deviation for Palantir as well. You're going to get all the second standard deviations this week, okay? For every stock that we cover on this channel. That includes like DJT, JP Morgan. Oh, we need to talk about JP Morgan, by the way. AVGO, GLD, super interesting. SoFi, AMC, GME, all those things. We're going to be putting out all of it. Links down in the description. It's only $7 a month, right? We keep it real cheap so a bunch of people can join. And then if it's helpful for you, stick around. You're not locked in or anything like that. Looking forward to another trading week with you in the community. I appreciate that. David. Perfect, we'll join. Yeah, give it a try. If you like it, you think it's helpful, that's great. I always like to say, I respect your money, I respect your time. So if you don't see it as helpful, don't think you have to be a part of it or anything. You can come to the live shows, right? You can come watch the YouTube videos, perfectly fine. A little sip of coffee. All right. So this is what I'm inclined to watch for Palantir right now until we see bad things, right? Until we see like 30-minute crosses down, 30-minute crosses up, 30-minute rejects. We lose this low. We open the pathway down again. Okay, now we're down at this critical level. And now you're looking at gap fill. That's the only reason I'm inclined to that. The better way to probably hold up here is you see a 3 move down like this. You don't break that low. And then you actually go like bam, bam, bam. And then this is where you kind of know it's back. That's what I'm inclined to believe, but we haven't seen any of this price action yet, and Palantir is a beast, so we got to see. Let's go over, I really wanted to go into JP Morgan for a moment, and then we can take a look over at Meta. JP Morgan, just looking at the daily time frame, we don't have to do too much with this. I really like JP Morgan for the possible bull play later, right? Towards, sometime, maybe even this week, maybe next week. I actually like JP Morgan here. Look at that strength. Look at the shelves, right? I love this. Boom, doesn't give up that much. Boom, sideways, boom, sideways, boom. Once you start to not go sideways and you go up, ooh, risky, risky, risky. As far as it goes for your weekly expected move for JP Morgan last week, it gave you a great hint here, right? It was like, this is a well overextended move. Risk to reward play possibly on hand. Patreon members, does the monthly expected move tell you something here as well? It does. It does. It tells you take your foot off the effing gas for JP Morgan. That's what it tells you. It says take your foot off the damn gas. That's what it is saying. Now, what is the most likely thing to happen here? Is this bullish? Let's see. I would say, this is a little fishy, weirdly enough. If that's a 2, that could be 5. But I would just say this is probably boom, boom, boom. And then if you make the new low, it's bad. So boom, boom, boom. Did we take out that high? Yes. So we should be looking for what? A higher low. And look at that gap there. Look at that gap here. So 3 points to really pay attention to for JP Morgan. 239.60. If it holds up better, it holds up better, guys. We haven't seen any of the price action, right? We're going to go over this throughout the week. It doesn't have to go to these levels. These are just critical levels that we're paying attention to with that bad news. So like 240, okay? Next point, next gap, 235.50. Next point, next gap. Boom, right there. So the lowest I'm paying attention is pretty much 228.67 with the availability to say, as long as we're not really crossing through the zone, we can hold up. But if we lose this low, it starts to get risky. So I want to make sure a good buy comes in that then gives me maybe a retest at some point on the shorter time frames here. Right, so this would mean it's going to break down in like a 2 push down. So it would go wham, wham, or probably something more like this into this. Just hammer it, right? I don't know if you get all the way there. I'm inclined to look at this first and then say this is, good, but the line in the sand and the availability for downside is here. So bam, bam, bam. You come down into here. You want to see what? This taken out. Then probably something like that. I mean, you could just rip though. Like you can absolutely just rip. So I don't even know if retest is the move. I think assuming some kind of risk at a low, if we see extreme moves outside of weekly expected moves, would say like dabble. That's what I would say for JP Morgan. As far as how low can it get for the month, that's good too. Look at your monthly expected moves, Patreon members, to see how low it could get. Do you know how low the monthly expected move is for JP Morgan? How bad it says this could get with this type of news for JP Morgan? I'm going to tell you because you came live today. 226, right there, right where my line is, right here, right where my cursor is. So you could get all the way down to there and you would still be within a monthly expected move. Crazy, right? Crazy. Hey, thank you guys for subscribing. Sorry, I can't shout out all your names, but thank you guys so much for subscribing today. Looks like the SPY's ready for that pullback, right? ATTC, ATTS, ATTS, ATS, AT&T, A-Team Trading. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, we've been going through it for a long time here, but let's get on Meta, and then I probably have to hop off, guys. It's past my time now, but I wanted to take my time with it for you guys. Meta as well, showing the way higher, showing support in the zone. Fantastic. So from the 2-hour perspective, is this bad right now? No. This is good. But you just got bad news, which means this is probably going to flop. This is probably going to flop. Now, the interesting thing for something like Meta is it's going to look risky in my mind if we go and try to fill this gap. It's going to look really risky. You open up a lot of doors to downside, okay? And Meta was a crazy one because it's a divergence one, which means it can be a great opportunity, and it was a great opportunity. Remember the divergence we were watching down here? It was a great opportunity. And it did exactly what it needed to do to absolutely crush it, which is we took out this high after making a divergence. That's why I pay attention to divergence. That's why I like those plays, because when you catch those snapbacks, whoo, it's crazy, right? So this was able to take out the daily higher low. Or I'm sorry, the daily lower high. God dang it. If I could talk, that'd be great. So you're looking for this zone. Part of me would pull this down and create a bigger zone and include that. Okay? Part of me would do that. That might be a little bit deep. I still like this zone better, right? Like I would maybe we'll include the gap or something like that, right? This is probably the best way to draw the zone here because you don't want to be convinced like we have to go all the way down to here ever. You want to more so see positive MACD, positive here. Price action did what? It took out this level right here. So this is all good things. And you're most likely going to test into here and you're paying attention to well, the center point. I like the center point. So pretty much round number 600, 592, 591. And then after that, you could go all the way down to the bottom. So Meta might look really scary next week. We'll see. I kind of hope not. I kind of hope not. Because if it wants to take care of this gap, you start to open doors on shorter time frames to lower. But note, it has retested those lows and built all the way back. So I would say for Meta, it's a different story than a lot of things because of how the gaps are formed. And I would say look for the daily, look for the shorter time frames to just tell you if it's going to go up, right? If you see like this in here, I'll keep paying attention to this throughout the week, but I would just say more so look for the time where even if it breaks down lower, you see a snap and it beats that high. That would be a good sign. For Meta as well, where does the monthly expected move suggest? It still suggests that you could revisit the lows. This isn't like a JP Morgan. So there's going to be a little bit more risk for Meta here to revisit those lows. I'm just going to warn you about that now. Your monthly expected moves, we just talked about the JP Morgan one and we utilized that. If you talk about Meta, the monthly expected moves for Meta are still suggesting that you could end up down here. And that's kind of a problem. But the thing is, you came into the month with earnings, so that might be slightly wonky. I would still look for your good behavior here, good behavior here, good behavior here, right? And look for us to make a new higher low. That would be the best. Yeah, very nice. I do have to hop off, you guys. That's the last one I can go over. I hope that at this time that you found this video helpful. I really, really do. Thank you guys for being here. We can go over more charts later on throughout the week, okay? So if it wasn't able to get to your chart or anything like that, and if you didn't watch the whole video, do some skipping through, put it on 1.5, put it on 2 if you can understand. I think I talked pretty slowly. That way we could really get this information out clearly. But overall, all we need to take away from this video, if you take away anything, is don't be convinced something is truly bearish, especially on a daily time frame, unless it actually is bearish on the daily time frame. This, for the time being, how we should treat it on the way down is a daily pullback, no matter what it looks like, okay? And if we start to see the signs in the shorter time frames that this thing is reversing back around, we will notify you, okay? We will be here with you. We will mention it on Patreon. We will mention it in our YouTube videos at night. We will be live in the morning on YouTube every single day. We will be live every single day. I am committing to it. I am guaranteeing it for you. I will be live every single freaking day at the close, right? We'll be live for that last power hour every single day. Thank you guys for showing up today. And I hope I know I took a lot of some of your guys' time, and I appreciate you spending that time with me. You did your analysis for the day. We went through a lot of things. Don't sit there and try to overthink it and try to keep looking at charts. Go let your brain relax for a little bit. Go get some good food in you. Go have some good times today, all right? Don't stress yourself out before the market even opens, right? I'm potentially going to take one peek at futures and just be like, all right, cool, we're going down. All right, cool, we're going up. What level are we breaking? Okay, cool. Maybe I'll pay attention to that, but make sure to have some fun and reload for tomorrow, okay? Thank you guys. Have a great Sunday and peace out.